The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Bright Side and issue number 145. And John's already bebopping and dancing over there. Look at him go.
Yeah.
You look like you're all wound up for this.
Enthusiasms.
You're bringing it tonight, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What are you very excited to get to tonight? See, and we're doing this before we get into the show. Before we get into the store. What are you excited to get to tonight? We are recording.
Dinner.
Dinner. No, I mean in the show.
Oh.
Anything that's you're just
checkout, probably, yeah.
Checkout?
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for a couple of news items. One you didn't even put in here. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, maybe you don't care about it. I do. And then I think we're going to have something that's not in our notes, but we're going to go at it anyways, and we'll see what happens there.
Okay.
Little conversation.
I bet you I could guess what it might be.
Yeah, the conversation with Dr. Joe.
Yeah.
That one. That should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And we have.
You want to get me riled up?
Yeah, I do.
You better do that early.
I do. So, see, look at that. You just woke right up. So what does that
perked right up.
All right. With that, we've got Titans.
My microphone is in the red.
Yeah, exactly. I can see that right now. All right, let's get to that. John's all riled up, so let's not waste any more time. We'll Kryptonite Key Club at the end with Titans, a bunch of other stuff. We're going to have a blast. Let's get into the store.
All right.
All right, John, we're in the store now.
We are. Yeah.
We are.
There's customers around, though. So
yeah, there's customers are here. That's nice. It's always nice,
Yeah.
that nice ambient sound. All right. Do you want to just get right to that, or do you want? Let's talk about the news of the day. What dropped last night? We'll talk about that first, because that's not in the notes or anything. Have you
Just
seen?
because I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
No.
Oh, that's a little disappointing. I was gonna text you and see if you'll see it. What we're talking about is the trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home. And are you avoiding it on purpose, or you just haven't had a chance?
Not specifically. I didn't really want to watch it on my phone. I don't have any speakers connected to my computer at work, and so I really just haven't had a chance to sit down, and I'll throw YouTube on the big screen and watch it when I get a chance. But I didn't want to watch it on my phone, so I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
All right. Do you mind if I make a comment and maybe spoil the spoiler of the...
It's a spoiler trailer, so do your worst, man. I'm not worried about it.
Basically, in the trailer, Peter, we were left with Peter's he's been outed at the end of, what was the name of the last one? So
Far From Home.
Far From Home. This is No Way Home.
Right.
So he goes to Doctor Strange and says, in the trailer, can you make it possible that this never happened?
Right.
And
it's just essentially Brand New Day.
Right.
Which I did know.
But in the trailer, the way they make it seem is that, like, Doctor Strange was like, okay. And I'm like, the guy went through like 14. Now, let me just say, I know I'm going to love this movie.
Right.
Of course. I love all the Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire, the other one, The Amazing Spider-Man. I loved them all. I don't care. I love Spider-Man. I'm going to love this movie.
Right.
But for a guy that sat there while dealing with Thanos and went through 14 million options, Peter comes to him with inconvenience. He goes, okay.
Well, is it possible that in the out of the 14 million
today, John's playing the role of DJ?
Yeah. Is it, in the 14 million permutations that he watched, the one with the success did not involve Peter being outed. You know, I don't know.
No, but my point in that is that according to the trailer, which we all know is a snippet, but according to the trailer, he's just like, all right, and he does do his wink, which is, I think it's a nod back to when he did it to Tony Stark on, what was that, on Titan, and he winked to him like, yeah, we've got this. That's in the trailer. But I just felt that it seemed a little too easy, and I hope it's not that, to steal a line from you, it's not that lazy of writing that they're like, oh, okay, you'll do it.
I can't imagine it will be. Hey, you know who the main protagonist in the Brand New Day storyline was?
Who's that?
Mephisto.
Ooh.
Mephisto is who he makes a deal with to set everything different. So you know, get your tinfoil Mephisto hats on, because those books are already spiking today. Like Brand New Day books have already doubled in price.
Is that in our notes?
No, because it was all kind of after the fact. Oh. But yeah, I had I've seen people posting them all over Facebook today.
Yeah.
So yeah. And of course I don't have any, so that's great. I sold a set about a year ago for like $20.
Really?
So, I mean, it's all they were worth, you know, at the time. And, you know, not like they're worth a ton now, but they're probably worth like $40. So
how many books is it in the set?
It's four or six. I'm actually not 100. I think it's 6 actually, but I'm not 100% sure. But I had a full set a while back.
What year is that from?
I mean, it was almost 20 years ago, so it had to be early 2000s. I don't know exactly when. But, I mean, that was the storyline that undid the wedding to Mary Jane and, you know, basically rebooted his whole thing that stayed in effect until the current run that we liked, because it brought Peter and Mary Jane back together.
It brought everything back to normal.
Yeah.
Well,
sort of
what
brought
we
everything,
knew.
Yeah, sort of brought everything back. So, I mean, this movie will not follow that storyline.
Not to the letter?
To any letter, yeah. But it may have something to, you know, may have some impact anyway.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, I can't wait for you to see it. So let me know, even if you see it later tonight, let me know.
Yeah.
And with the other conversation, now we're going to get you all riled up here. So.
Well, maybe not as much as you think, because I mean,
go ahead.
If you want it. Well, I mean, I guess well, they don't even know what we're talking about. So the topic at hand is Substack and all of the creators that are leaving their posts at Marvel, specifically Marvel, but some DC as well, and going off to do their creator-owned things at Substack. We talked about James Tynion a few weeks ago, and I didn't get super into it then, but I did make mention that I wasn't super thrilled about the whole thing, but I didn't want to get too ahead of myself here. But since then, multiple other creators, big-name guys, Donny Cates, Scott Snyder, Chip Zdarsky, you know, all the kind of like the big guns of today are all going off and doing a similar thing. So, Dr. Joe and Fry Guy over there on the TLDR podcast talked about this last week. And here's where I'm going to pass the ball a little bit, because there's an old country song that you probably don't know about, but by a singer named Ricky Van Shelton, and the title of it is "I Meant Every Word That He Said," and that's exactly how I felt when I was listening to Dr. Joe talk about that. He channeled my inner self, and I am going to say, if you want to hear those thoughts, he put them very succinctly and better than I will. So go over and listen to the TLDR podcast from last week at the beginning, and Dr. Joe will tell you all about it. But yeah, essentially, you know, I just feel like this is a huge slap in the face to comic book retail, brick and mortar, the comic book industry in general that made most of these guys. And, you know, I really feel like they're now at this point taking their success and biting the hand that fed them, because they are taking their wares elsewhere and, kind of forgetting that they have the success that they have because, one, yes, they are immensely talented, and they, nobody gave that to them. They have their talent. But none of them sold books until brick and mortar stores started pushing the books for them. None of these guys started out writing Batman or Daredevil or Venom. They all started out writing, Teen Titans Academy 97 or whatever it was, right? And somebody had to push the stories of these guys and get them going. And I feel like now that they don't necessarily need somebody to do that for them, they're turning their backs on, the comic book retailers and, essentially just trying to cash their big checks. So, ultimately I feel like it's a bad thing for comic book stores, and I don't know what else. I'm sure you have counterpoints or other points that you want to ring in with. So, I guess go ahead.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to counterpoint or interject as well, because otherwise it's just me rambling.
No. I was just waiting for you to finish, and yeah, no, that's fine. My only thing, and I said this on our exchange with Dr. Joe, is that I never, and we said this when we first talked about it when Tynan left, and it's like, I never fault the artist / athlete, and I always say / athlete because we do this in sports too, when your favorite player leaves his team, your team. And this is a little bit different in that you're right. As a store owner, well, it hits you in the pocket. But you could say the same thing if you were, say, when Bobby Orr was playing here and you were a bar owner outside of the Garden. That's going to hit you in the pocket when Bobby Orr leaves to go to Chicago, right?
I don't know. Maybe, but when he left, did you stop watching the... But did you stop watching the Bees games?
No, but the Bees probably...
I didn't stop watching the Red Sox when Mookie Betts left.
Are you going to stop reading Batman?
I won't stop reading Batman.
Well, then what? You see what I mean? Are you going to stop?
But others may, because again, going back to what Dr. Joe said, here's
the thing. Let me retort. Okay. So what I'm saying is like, you're right. I won't stop watching the Bees, just like you won't stop reading Batman. But the numbers will drop off as the team is less successful. So as the book is less successful, the numbers will drop off because you don't have a Tynan writing it like a Bobby Orr playing there. So it is analogous in that the diehards will stay there, but you won't be bringing in as many new readers to that Batman book. And that's the only reason I say that is because that's like, how do you fault the guy? I understand completely what you're saying. He built his brand on your back, and now he goes to Substack to get that money, but that's his prerogative. If that fails, he still has that money, right? If Substack fails, that's on Substack, but he gets his money. He can always come back. In the meantime, those books will be there. Batman will be there.
Right, but asking me if I'm going to stop reading that is an unfair question, because I can read every book that comes out every single week, and it doesn't cost me any additional money,
right?
Because I've purchased them from my store. The fairer question is, will you stop reading it? And the answer might be no. You won't stop reading Batman, but you know what you will stop reading? The Flash, or Green Lantern, or something else that took that $5 away. Mm-hmm. Because I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, budgets are finite. And people only have so much money to spend. I'll say the same thing when Spider-Man goes weekly in September. Spider-Man readers will continue to buy Spider-Man 4 times a month for $20. But you know what they won't buy? Doctor Strange or XYZ book. Because I still only have $20 to spend. And if I decide to give it all to Spider-Man, that's great. But I'm not building readers for any other title. And if I'm Marvel and I still get the $20, I guess I'm okay with it. And I guess I consider it a win if one of the books they stop reading is a DC book or an Image book. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in the scheme of things, you're still only getting that $20. So that's kind of where I fault them. Like,
but aren't you? Let me ask you this though. On the $20, aren't you only getting the $20 if Spider-Man comes out monthly and they read Doctor Strange and they read something else? That same customer is still coming in for the $20. You haven't gained anything. I get what you're saying is what you want to do is you want to coax that reader into picking up something else and he ups it to $25. But if he just keeps spending $20, it doesn't matter what books he buys. You just want the $20.
But if that $20 now goes to Substack, I get no bucks.
Right.
So again, looking at James Tynion, who's going to say, I want $70 a year for my subscription to my newsletter. And, again, this was all put a lot better by Dr. Joe. But for those that haven't listened to it, all of these creators, they're not giving you this content for free. So if I want to read all of James Tynion's stuff and I pay $70 a month, okay, that's great. Then I want to read the Donny Cates stuff, so that's another $70 a month. And then I want to read the Zdarsky stuff, that's another $70 a month. Now I've paid $210 a month. Where did that budget come from? Came from comic stores, more than likely. And then I have prepaid for a bunch of content that I don't even know that I want, because I have the option to not read Wind because I don't like it and I don't read it. Right. And I don't pay for it. But if I'm paying for this newsletter up front, I'm paying for Wind whether I want to read it or not.
Right.
So, there's a lot of things about it that I just feel like I do feel like they're biting the hands that fed them. Because as you and I mentioned a few weeks ago, at least specifically in the case of James Tynion, his response was that, he wants more creative freedom. James Tynion had all the creative freedom he wanted. Nobody's giving him more than what he already had. Again, maybe he had to answer here and there with Batman, but it feels like he did almost anything he wanted. But when it comes to Image,
to be fair, you should know that going into Batman.
You do.
You know what I mean? Like when Zdarsky took over Daredevil, I'm sure there were parameters given to him. It's like when you take over a big entity like that, there's going to be restrictions / parameters. But Nice House on the Lake? Come on. I mean, that's out of his head.
Right. Which is now, and again, here's what else irritates me, is that there was supposed to be no disruption to these things because of Substack. But now Nice House on the Lake, after issue 6, is going on a 6-month hiatus while he takes time to focus on his creator-owned work over there at Substack. By the time number 7 comes back 6 months from now, do you think anybody gives a crap about it?
Right.
Nobody wants to finish reading it. Nobody cares. It's already done and gone.
Hey, you want me to play that 1-minute clip that Dr. Joe sent us?
Sure.
I'm going to have to edit the bejesus out of this.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Strap in and strap on, Nicholas. I am fired up today.
But the language is this Substack revolution that we got going on.
I'm cranky. I think you're doing a great disservice to the casual fan and the new fan. I always think of my nephew. He's 11 now. That's the age I was when I first really started getting into comics. There is no way in hell that he's going to be like, Mom, I need $70 to subscribe to this writer that, my uncle says is really good, and it's the only way I can read his books. Mm-hmm. That's shit. Your goal should always be to try and get new readers, right? And the only way to do that is by having a book on a shelf so that someone can flip through, or once I've read it, I can say, here, take this, read it. It's fantastic. I can't just give you my iPad.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, so I got to go. He beeped out most of it. I got to go.
He did. There's a couple. Yeah,
I got to go and fix the one that dropped in, and I'll add our signature beep to it.
Yes, language.
But yeah, it's. I don't get me wrong. I agree with you guys, but I'm also trying to put myself in these artists' shoes. Somebody comes at you with that kind of money. I mean, do you really? I don't know. I don't even know if you would do that.
I don't know, because I still think they make more money from but I still think they make more money from Image. Image they own everything. So
yeah, but
like
here's
I
the
can't
thing.
imagine they're getting more from these subscriptions at Substack.
But it feels like this is like a 3-year thing for big bucks. They cash in and then they go back to the norm. I think, in all honesty, I feel like this is just going to fail because of the stores, because of the physical flow. People like the books. That's what, it's not just the stories, it's the hobby. Very much like my other hobby, home theater. Right? And it's like, we like the technology. We like all this. We like the hands-on part. So I know, and I'm just trying to play the other side of the fence, because if we both sat here and just ripped it, it's what fun is that?
Right.
But I truly do feel that way about the artists, though. It's like, I mean, how do you turn down that kind of money? And the way I personally would justify it would be, look, like if somebody came along and said, hey, I'll give you a ton of money if you'll run this podcast with me, and but you got to take 6 months off from doing one with John, then you can come back, but this is a 3-year deal. What do you think I'm going to do? If I could quit my other job and then just do this? Not that I'm being, but you know what I mean? And that would suck. Everybody'd be mad at me, and you'd be mad. But then at the end of the day, I'd be like, John, look at the money that I had, the opportunity that I had. It would have to be crazy money. But I'm saying, you know what I mean? And I have a feeling that's what this was. Or is.
Yeah, well, he said it was. I mean, Tynan at least. I don't know that the other ones are talking specifically about the money. But again, Tynan said that they offered him more money than his Batman contract. Not necessarily the money he's making at Image and Boom from Department of Truth,
didn't
or
he
something
say
is killing the children.
DC offered him the biggest contract that he's ever been offered.
Right, for DC, though.
Right. And he turned that down because this is even bigger.
Right, but what I'm saying is Image isn't a contract. You are only limited by the content you put out and how many people buy it. Like, you don't sign a contract to work at Image. I mean, I'm sure there's legal stuff you have to sign, don't get me wrong, but they're not paying you to be a creator for Image. You own your property, and every copy you sell, a percentage of it goes back to Image for, corporate whatever, but you own the rest. If you sell that movie rights to, the movie studios or to Netflix or whatever, that's all your money. And I can't imagine that they're not making the money there and still putting comics on the rack. So yes, maybe they offered him more money than his Batman specific contract, but he's making a killing with something that's killing the children, and with Wind, and with Department of Truth. And he could have taken Nice House on the Lake to Image if he wanted to, because it's his, and made money there too. So I don't think that these guys don't have the the potential to make all the money that they want. Like, Cates is selling Crossover and God Country and all this stuff at Image, and Zdarsky has Stillwater and whatever else he does at Image. Now, granted, Stillwater's not doing the numbers that some of these other titles are doing, but as a good writer, I'm sure he could come up with something that will sell him 50,000 copies or whatever it is. So I don't know. Like, I just don't find myself in a position to where I feel like I'm going to read anything that these guys put out through this newsletter, because I'm not going to pay anything for it.
Right. I don't think it doesn't feel like, to me, like it's going to gain a lot of traction. But then again, the people I talk to are like me, you, Dr. Joe, the people that like going to the stores, the people that are in the stores. So I don't know, maybe there is some traction outside of those people. But
I don't know,
but I am completely ignorant on it, though. But I don't get it.
But here's the thing. These guys have their following, there's no doubt, and they're going to try to capitalize on that. But before there was a Tynan and a Zdarsky and a Cates, there was a Stan Lee and a Marv Wolfman and a Chris Claremont. And after Tynan and Cates and Zdarsky, there'll be XYZ creator. So there's a million great writers out there that are looking to step in to these and fill these spots. So I don't think that like that all these people are just going to follow them to these services and pay all this crazy money to read their specific stories, when there'll be another good writer that comes up and starts putting something else out that they can get for $3.99. At least that's my hope. Because like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, if these three guys go and they start to make a killing, well, then when does Tom Taylor go? And when does, whatever good writer that I can't think of, when do they go? You know what I mean? It's like, what's the other? Cullen Bunn, who's writing a million things right now. Like, when does he go to Substack? Like, I think there's a lot of eyes watching what happens with these guys. Because, and again, we didn't even mention Scott Snyder, really. Who
was
does
the
a ton
big
of
name,
stuff.
I think, that dropped that got Dr. Joe going.
Now, again, I don't think Scott has said he's going exclusively there, because I think he's still got, he's got a lot of stuff in the works with Image. But he's definitely going to have exclusives that are going to Substack as well. So, I don't know. My biggest fear is sucking money out of the comic book stores and keeping new readers from coming in and and buying books.
Yep.
And yeah,
I get that.
I'm
I
just
get
not
that
a
fear.
fan. Not a fan of it. So.
But like you said, when we first heard about this isn't the first time somebody's tried doing a digital medium for comic books, like you said, and there'll be somebody else that'll try it as well. And that's, it hasn't taken hold yet, but
right. And there'll be somebody else will try it after. There's always going to be people that are trying to push digital with regards to any entertainment. They're trying to do it. They're doing away with DVD or Blu-rays and 4K discs at some point. They're doing away with any physical media. They're trying to push digital. Comic books, is just one of many things. The biggest difference is the collectability part of it that will always keep, I think, comics in paper, because you can't collect digital books.
Right.
Whereas people don't necessarily, some people collect movies or whatever. They want to have their steel books and this and that, but that's a very small subset of people. For the most part, it's digital and they're fine with it. They don't even own the movies. They just have Netflix or whatever.
Right. They'll have Netflix or iTunes Yep.
And same thing, like, nobody's really buying CDs anymore, or nobody's doing this or that, because, you just stream your music. You just pay $10 a month to Amazon or iTunes and you get everything you want. Why buy anything? People buy vinyl because it's retro and they collect it, and it's a thing to have physical. But I don't think a lot of them are opening them up and spinning them on their turntables. You know what I mean?
Oh, they are. It's coming back.
But I think most of them are collections.
Making a resurgence.
Right,
it is,
I think it's collections, though.
But they are repressing, too. Artists now are pressing new material on vinyl, and it is making a resurgence. But what I was going to say is, like, it's a great point that you bring up all those other mediums that have faded away. laser discs went away.
Right.
VHS went away. Video rental stores, the Blockbusters, they all went away because the next thing came along. But here we are. You own a comic book store. Comic book stores existed when we were kids.
Right.
VHS, video rental stores, gone.
Yeah, I'm sure they were all crying. Yeah,
exactly.
The VCR store guy is crying right now too. But
right. But what I'm saying is like it's a different type of medium that it just doesn't translate as well to digital. Right. So take my buddy Tim, who has that room that filled with hundreds of thousands of dollars of books.
Right.
He loves those books. He loves talking about that physical media, that physical, holding it in his hands. He takes it out. He can't wait to show me these things, right? That's something that you can't reproduce this art digitally. That you can, and there could be a certain segment of the population, probably the majority, like you said with the movies, that they don't mind reading it digitally. But, there's something to be said for holding that book in your hands. And that's the stuff why people come to your store. Everything that's in your store, you could probably get on Comixology, right?
For the most part, I imagine so.
Right.
Between that and Marvel Unlimited and DC Unlimited or whatever, you can get everything.
Right. But people still want to do that. And that's why people still want to go to the stores. And stores aren't I think, what was the heyday, like late 90s? Or something like that?
Late 90s were when it was the biggest. That was the boom. But it was also the boom that almost killed comics, too. But
but I feel like there's more stores now than when we were kids. But that's
for sure.
But then again, I drive a car now, not a bicycle. So I can get.
But no, there weren't nearly as many stores in the 70s and 80s as there are now.
And that's pretty good considering what it's gone through, and you don't need to go to a store, but people still want to. That's why that's why this podcast exists. This is what we like to do. So that's why TLDR exists. We like to hold these books, and we like to, enjoy the artwork. I mean, you can look at a piece of art online, but isn't it better to see it for real in a museum or in a comic book, in a case of a comic book, in the store? And it is. And that's why I think of something like Substack. I don't think might put a little dent in you for a little while, but I think you'll recover. Like the store, you'll feel it at first, and then my hope is that it's just another story.
Right. Well, like I said, or even you mentioned, like Batman's going to go on, right? Like Daredevil's going to go on, Spider-Man's going to go on. And so the readers that were reading those books will continue to be able to read them. But like, what fills the gap of Department of Truth or crossover or something? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is there another Image book that's going to come along and sell me 30 copies a month or whatever? Those are harder to replace. Hopefully there'll be something. Somebody else will come along and something will fill the gap. But some of those titles that these guys are producing, from a monetary standpoint, as a store owner, are going to be harder to recapture with other titles. Like you said, I don't imagine my subs will go down on Batman or Spider-Man, but if I don't have all those copies of Something is Killing the Children selling every month, what is selling?
Yeah.
And hopefully it's a book that I'm selling and not their subs, their subscription over there on Substack.
Right.
So, wow.
Yep. All right. You want to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted? A little bit more fun?
Yeah.
All right.
Always. I wasn't even going to bring it up. Because of the way she
knows she pulled the trigger.
She fell on to Dick.
Right.
She fell on to Dick. She fell on to Dick. Bleeping that over.
Isn't that great?
Oh, it's awesome. I told you. When I listened back to that,
of
I
course,
was like,
she realizes she pulled the
Listen to me.
trigger, but I don't think she realizes the. Listen to me. I'll play it again. Listen to me, because you sent me that clip, or you told me about that clip. You were listening to it back. For all the times that I don't hear your jokes, I heard this one live. Okay.
Yeah.
So listen to me. Try to speak after you said, because I had my thoughts.
I think she does because of the way she
knows she pulled the
kinda
trigger.
She fell on
Right?
to Dick.
Right. But of course, she realizes she pulled the trigger. But I was like, do I keep going with my thought, or do I acknowledge what you just said?
Yeah, I didn't really hear it. She fell on. I didn't hear Dick. I didn't hear it live when I said it, because it was just in the conversation, and I went on.
Oh yeah,
but when I was listening back to it a couple days later, I was like, "Oh, that's got to be a sound bite, right?
Oh.
We've got to save that." And,
you texted me, and I knew exactly. Like, I think you wrote it out like "fell onto Dick," and I was like, I was with Joe when you texted me, and I told him, and Joe went, "Oh my God!" I go, "Yeah, it was everything I could do to not like." I'm like, just let that one slide. So,
yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. I thought that was fun. Yeah, lots of fun.
She fell onto Dick. I could listen to that all day. So, she fell onto Dick.
I got to make that into a ringtone.
I was going to say, I don't think you can keep this PG rated though for this
sure
episode.
Sure I can. Dick Grayson. You were absolutely 100% correct in what you said. And it was
but now that it's taken
sentence.
When it's taken out of context.
I didn't put it in any other context.
So, she fell onto Dick.
I had to cheer you up. I mean, there's a flow to this show, and we went low, but I got you right back.
You did.
All right, that's what we're here for. All right, let's get to what's going on in the store. What do we got going on in your store this week?
So it looks like they have officially confirmed the Captain America 4 movie with Anthony Mackie returning as Captain America. Now, they kind of confirmed this movie at the end of now Captain America and the Winter Soldier,
right?
The final episode. But Anthony Mackie was very public after that with his statements that he hadn't been contracted to do any other movies.
Really?
and that this was kind of news to him as well. So I think maybe they put the cart before the horse a little bit, but they have now nailed him down to star in this movie, and probably multiple. Like, I can't imagine this will be the only one. It really feels like they're building towards like a Young Avengers, or an alternate Avengers team with Kate Bishop and War Machine and Captain America here, and maybe Winter Soldier. So I would imagine we'd see that too, but that's cool. Like I said, I'd be down for a Captain America 4, which would essentially just be season 2 of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I can't imagine that Bucky won't be a part of that as well.
Well, that's the thing. The clip
capacity.
The clip that I grabbed from Screen Rant, and I read the article, and it says Captain America 4, every MCU character expected to appear, and I'm like, ooh, this should be good. I wanted to see who else could be in this. And they just basically went through and listed everybody that was in Winter Soldier, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Mackie, even the minor bad guys. I mean, obviously, John Walker supposedly would come back.
Right.
Agent Sharon Carter now, and but they said like Jacqueline Torres.
Who was that?
It was Danny Ramirez's return as Jacqueline Torres in Captain America 4.
Joaquin. Yeah,
sorry,
well, essentially, yes, he's the one that took over. Yeah, he's the one that takes over as Falcon. in the comics when Sam takes over as Captain America.
Right.
And they kind of allude to that in the show a little bit when Sam hands him like the busted wings,
Yeah.
and
But see, I don't know.
we could see him.
They were saying Isaiah Bradley as well.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know if all of these people will get in it.
yeah, I don't think it's. I was just joking. I really don't think it's season 2 of Falcon Winter Soldier. But I would imagine we'd see John Walker in some capacity.
Zemo?
And maybe.
See, that's the thing is I don't know if this. See, I have a feeling that this will be completely different, and then maybe they'd do another show.
It could
and
be.
bring these people, but you know what I mean? It's like I feel like you just don't want to do a 2-hour show on the big screen, because I think if they did that, people would be like, "That was a 2-hour show on the big screen. I want to see something big."
But it also feels like the show led to this and left some threads that this movie will pull. Again, John Walker at the end. And again, they were saying that may set up like Thunderbolts or. Something else. So yeah, I mean, who's to say? But I would think if at the minimum we'd probably see Bucky. But
see, I don't know about that because in the show he left, and maybe they wrote that because they weren't sure if he's going to be in the. But he's like, if you need me, you can call me. And I didn't think we were going to see him again, and then he showed up at the very end of the show.
Right.
But that also could have been written in like he's not going to be in every Captain America story. So maybe he isn't in Captain America 4. And then he comes back. Because otherwise it just turns into the Captain America, Winter Soldier show every time. Why are they always together? Right, but I mean, nobody said that when it was Steve and Bucky showed up in all 3 movies too. You know what I mean? Well, I think they want to get away from
He's just
that.
part of the Captain America mythos.
Right.
Bucky's just always kind of there. But yeah, maybe they want him to stand on his own and be completely different, and it could very well be that. But we all know that Marvel, everything is connected and everything leads to something else. So, I mean, these characters all appear in everybody else's movies. Like that's the cool thing about these movies is you just never know who's going to pop up. Because anybody could be there.
Right. And that's why I wanted to read that article, because I thought it was going to talk to me about other characters from other entities showing up.
Well,
and they only
I can answer it for you. It's
cool.
Every character in the MCU. That's who could potentially show up.
Right.
Maybe it's Captain Marvel. Maybe it's Ant-Man. It could be anybody.
Exactly. And that's what I was hoping for in the article. But all they gave me is everybody that in my opinion, most likely won't be.
Won't be, right?
It's like, all right. Otherwise, it's just the show. So, well, we'll see. Yeah. Maybe this character will show up.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of everybody popping up in everybody else's movies, Dominique Thorne, who has been cast as Riri. I have such a hard time saying that. Riri Williams. It's like tongue twister Tuesday. Riri Williams. She has been cast as Ironheart, basically for the Disney Plus show. But it looks like she is confirmed to make her debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which is Black Panther 2, essentially.
Right.
So, we knew we were going to get her. She's already been cast. It was just a matter of where we were going to see her first. And it looks like this is it. So, that's cool. I don't know what she has to do with the movie specifically, because I don't know that the characters share any common traits in the comics as far as backgrounds or anything. But hey, I'm looking forward to seeing her and getting the character. So it should be good.
Yeah. All right. This next one, I actually read more about this one, but go ahead.
Yeah, I've actually read that this may not be the case, but
yeah, so did I. Yep, Gizmodo. I read the article on Gizmodo.
Yeah, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but
I think we did privately, not on the air though.
Yeah, it came up that Disney / Lucasfilm was looking to rename Boba Fett's spaceship which has been known as the Slave One since 1981. For obvious reasons, they're not comfortable with that name any longer.
Sorry to interject, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Lego that
Lego
started this off, because they're the ones that had the model that's been selling and selling.
Lego had the biggest part in it, I think, but I'm sure Disney was also on board. You know, they stopped calling Leia Slave Leia 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they don't want to use that anymore. They no longer produce anything with that image of her in that bikini. They don't produce action figures of that anymore. Like, that's just gone away. And so I have to imagine they had something to do with this decision.
Pretty sure you can still get the costume.
You can still get anything online, but I don't think that costume was ever officially licensed by Lucasfilm to begin with. So if you're buying that...
Definitely not in my size.
Yeah, it's definitely from a third-party vendor. But in any case, the War of the Bounty Hunters event seems to have revealed the new name for Boba Fett's ship as the Fire Spray. But now I'm hearing that there's an article saying that might not be accurate either. So
did you read the article, or do you?
Not all of it. No,
okay.
I didn't.
So what it is basically they have all of the bounty hunter. There's a cover that has all the bounty hunters' ships on it with the bounty hunter next to them. It's like basically laying everything out. And all the covers have a name next to them, and they referenced Boba Fett's ship as Fire Spray, but it's a Fire Spray class ship. So that's not necessarily the name, because, as they said, they go into great detail. Like, Boss gets the Houndtooth, IG-88 gets the IG-2000, and so on. They have all the different names, but not all the other ships have been referred to as names, not the classes. But the one it's supposed to be Slave One, they called it Fire Spray. But like I said, that's the class of the ship. It's a Fire Spray 31 class patrol and attack craft. So it's kind of almost like they put it in as a placeholder, but maybe it does take up the name. They're not 100% sure.
It possibly still could, because, like I said, none of the other ships were referred to as their class. They were all referred to as a name. Right. So, like, I can name my cat if I want to. Correct. And that would be his name and also the class of animal that he is.
Right.
So it's still possible. But, yeah, I guess until the issue comes out, we won't know 100%. But...
What'll be cool is if there is an actual name inside, and that's why they put that on the cover to get, to find out, which is a great way to sell books.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I actually liked the name Fire Spray until I found out it was a Fire Spray class. Right. I'm like, oh, okay. But that is canon. That's been well documented, and in the article that I read on Gizmodo actually listed all like where it was mentioned before, and Marvel solicits and blah 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 and all this. But all right.
Yep. I guess we'll find out for sure.
Yes, we will.
And then the last thing I have actually, and this is actually a bit of a surprise to me, is reportedly HBO Max is developing a Black Canary movie starring Journey Smollett, who played Black Canary in the Birds of Prey movie, which did abysmally at the theaters and nobody seemed to like. So it's surprising to me that they would do that. She was good, right? Yeah. I'm not saying she wasn't, but this movie was not a hit with anybody, and didn't do well at all. So the fact that they're even thinking about this is interesting to me. But
to be fair, though, didn't this movie come out like in the February just before COVID, and we were getting the rumors of it, and people were not doing things but doing things?
I don't know.
I'm
I
pretty
don't know
sure this came out just before COVID, and we were talking
might have.
about it.
But I don't feel like that makes it a better movie.
That was back when we were going on the air making jokes about wearing masks and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember how funny and that was?
Oh yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. Like that movie wasn't great. Yes, she was
It wasn't
probably
bad. I enjoyed it. It was colorful.
It wasn't good.
It had a great. I loved Harley's like fight scenes.
Yeah.
Those were good. I thought, and that great egg sandwich.
Yeah, that looked awesome. I think she did a fine job as Black Canary. And I'll be on board. Like, I'll watch this movie for sure. It just seems interesting to me that they are looking to go back there because, again, by all reports, it wasn't a success for them. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see.
And the other bit of news is it's supposedly being written by one of the Lovecraft Country writers who she worked with on that show. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. And I did enjoy that show. So
yeah. We went all the way through that show. That was a treat. That was weird.
It was weird, but I liked it.
So strange.
Yeah.
But all right, you ready to get to some books?
Yes.
Books that you can buy in the store. Books you can
Yes.
hold in your hand.
You don't
Head
have
out
to get
to
a
your
subscription to and get them in your email box.
Nope. All right, John. What am I going to spend my money on this week?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just like to wait for the music to go. Amazing Spider-Man 72. This is like the running
We've
joke
seen
now,
this one.
but yeah. But hey, there's a 1 in 50 in Hyuk Lee AAPIH variant cover that's selling for about $90. So double ratio here. I feel like we've heard that chorus before.
Oh. Well, that and we've seen these cover. I know we saw this cover in FOC.
We did, and this is one of the better ones because I do like this cover.
Yes.
It's silk and it's
Yep.
It's really cool. You can, for $3.99, get the trade dress version.
Exactly.
And have the exact same picture. But you won't have the prestige of having the 1 in 50 version. So,
I don't need the prestige.
yeah. I have more prestige with $90 in my pocket than I do this comic book. So,
Especially if you roll it up the right way.
yeah. Yeah, takes the place of my socks.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to hear that joke back tomorrow.
Yeah,
because you were like, "Yeah."
No, it
Next
took me
up,
a second, but I got it.
I know.
Yeah. I circled back to it and I got it.
We've gone dark. We might as well just keep on going.
Might as well, right? It's already PG-13.
Yeah,
So.
Might be rated R if I don't get that.
Yeah, if you miss the bleep.
If I don't get to Dr. Joe there.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to get to this next one?
Yeah, so King Spawn #1. This is kind of a winner and a loser this week. Very similar to
I can't wait for
what
this
happened. Yes, I'm looking forward to reading it. But this is very similar to what happened with Berserker.
Well, John, to be fair, you haven't been reading Spawn as long as I have.
I have not. Well, actually,
now.
It's weeks now, yeah. I read it a lot. I forgot more about Spawn than you know, sir.
I read it a long time ago. I know of him, but I just never followed. But I'm really enjoying it now. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt your King Spawn #1, both a winner and a loser.
Yeah, much like the Berserker issue where retailers went super deep on this to get the 1 in 250 variant cover. In this case, this was signed by Todd McFarlane, and that issue is selling very well, between $800 and $1,200. Because of that, everything underneath it is selling for almost nothing. People were selling lots of all 7 covers on eBay for as low as $11 plus shipping, which is like $1.50 per book. That's less than cost on these. the 1 in 50 sketch cover variant is selling for between $25 and $30. So way under ratio here. There is going to be so many of these out there that there's not going to be any value here in anything except for that 1 in 250 variant.
So if you see one sitting on the shelf, grab it.
Yeah. The flip side to this, as opposed to Berserker, is that King Spawn was not returnable. So where people were okay taking a big risk on Berserker because they knew they could send back whatever they got stuck with, these are not returnable. And that's why you're seeing retailers selling them at $1 a piece, because they have to get rid of all of these copies that they got, to get the 1 in 250 variant.
So did you buy 250?
I did not. The math doesn't work out, man. Like,
oh no, you would never.
It cost you $750 plus shipping to order 250 copies. If you sell that, and it's selling between $800 and $1,200 now. That was before release day. Like, these things are going to be going for $800. I think pretty regularly, which means you only made $50 on it.
Right.
And then you're stuck with 249 other books that, you got to liquidate for $1, $2 a piece. So at the end of the day,
that's why they're selling them. That's why they're getting rid of all the covers.
Right.
Just trying
so
to
at
get
the end of the day,
in.
you may make $200 or $300, but like, how much work did you have to do to make a couple of $100 in moving all of these books? I don't know. The math didn't work out for me. I ordered 50 copies, and I'll sell through all of those pretty easily.
So you got the Capullo sketch?
I did get the sketch cover, and I've got a buyer that will pay $40 for that. And I'll sell every copy I have at full cover price. So I'll make probably as much money as the guy who ordered 250 copies, and I won't do near the work on it, and I won't have to house 250 copies of this. Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, the only winner here is the 1 in 250. You ought to be able to get this book anywhere in America for cover price or less. So, so anyway,
cool.
The opposite of a spec book.
Yep. Actually, the signed McFarlane incentive, it's basically the same as the main cover, just it's got white around it instead of.
Well, it's his variant cover. So it's the McFarlane variant cover, which is like the B or C cover.
Yeah.
But it's the Virgin, it's the Virgin cover. But McFarlane has also said that he will never sign that issue.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, we said that before.
So the only way to get his signature on this book is through this, basically. So, I mean, it will have some aftermarket value, but whether it'll go significantly higher than $800 or $900, maybe, but not right away. And so, not fast enough that retailers can afford to hold on to them. Not with laying out that kind of money to get the books.
That's interesting that you say like you would have had to spend $750. So like that $800 to $1,200 is not a coincidence. That's why they set it at that. You buy the book, you set it out there for $800 and hope you get it.
They were trying to get more. That's where it settled. Settled down to that. There were sales in the $1,600, $1,700 range in the very beginning. But they're now settling in this price range. Right. But actually, by the time you tack the shipping onto that, you've paid more than $800. So there's more than $50 to get those books shipped to you. Wow. Yeah. So math didn't work for me. I went 50 copies.
Did you work at it? Did you think about it?
I did, because I did work it out. But it's the same reason why I didn't do it with Berserker, and that was returnable. But it's just so much work and labor to get.
Your time's worth more than that.
Yeah, to get that money and just to make a little bit. Which, like I said, if I sell all 50 copies, I made a couple $100 profit.
Yeah,
2, and didn't have to do any of that legwork.
You should sign a couple of them yourself and then say you'll never sign any others, and maybe you'll get some money for that too.
That'll work. Yeah, I might do that. Might do that.
All right.
All right. Next up, Marvel Voices Identity, issue number 1. There are 2 different 1 in 50 variants for this book. Both of them are selling over ratio. There's an In-Hyuk Lee that's selling for about $90 and a Peach Momoko selling for around $60. Good luck finding either one of these in any stores because none of these Marvel Voices have sold more than 3 copies for me in any iteration. So I don't expect this one to sell significantly more than that. Another one, Nonstop Spider-Man number 4, has a Momoko 1 in 25 variant selling for between $35 and $40. Another title that doesn't sell 25 copies for most stores.
Textbook Momoko. Watercolors.
Yes.
No pastels in the Nonstop Spider-Man, though.
Yeah. Now, one book that does sell 25 copies or more in most places is Something is Killing the Children. Issue number 19 has a 1 in 25 variant that's selling for between $35 and $40. They are cooling off a little bit. The earlier ones were selling for more than that. As this series continues to go on month after month, the luster is wearing off a little bit. But it still continues to sell copies. So these shouldn't be as hard to find. In most stores, should have at least one of them. Symbiote Spider-Man number 2 has a 1 in 25 variant selling for about $40, so almost double ratio. This one could take off because it's a really cool cover. It's a throwback to Spectacular Spider-Man number 101. So this one to keep an eye on.
It's a black and white cover?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
cool.
like I said,
That
this
is
one...
cool.
It's one to watch. It may have legs to go a little higher than that. United States of Captain America number 3 has a 1 in 25 variant selling for about $40. And then Wonder Woman Black and Gold number 3, 1 in 25 variant at about $50.
Did we talk about this one before? Maybe at FOC, I think.
The Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I feel like I've seen this one before.
I don't remember talking about the 1 in 25 for that book, but we might have. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so though.
All right. And that's it.
Yep.
All righty. Let's get into back issue bonus.
So this book we talked about last week came out last week. Miles Morales Annual 2021. The 1 in 25.
Go way back.
Yeah, the 1 in 25 Fleeks variant for this has just completely blown up. Selling now for between $120 and $150. That's up almost 3 times where it was last week when we talked about it.
It's a nice cover. I like it.
It is a nice cover, but I don't know. Sometimes I just throw my hands in the air and shrug my shoulders because I don't understand why these things happen. But,
how do you grade a cover like that where it's supposed to look beat up?
Yeah. So there's a difference between supposed to look beat up and then being beat up.
Yeah, but you're just adding more character to it, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's all
that's right. Yeah.
It's all wet and gross.
Yeah.
It's got a score of 2.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Big bucks. I'm ruining your entire industry.
You are. It's all right. It's all right.
You should see me on a golf course.
I don't know that I want to.
Nope. I ruined that for Wayne, too.
Oh, for Wayne, yeah.
Yeah. But
I went golfing with Wayne a couple times back in
so
high
did
school.
I, and then he wanted to kill me.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't any better, I'm sure. So
I screamed 4 on his backswing.
Oh, jeez.
He took a divot out bigger than my monitor here. then he came at me with the club. He goes,
yeah, he took his golf seriously.
He still does. He's very, very good too. But
yeah.
I am not, and I do not take it seriously.
Right.
There was
I'm
one
out there to drink beer and ride around on the little car.
Yeah, or run. He told me to go. Do you remember Franklin Country Club in the first hole? And you tee off.
Yeah.
You tee off like down, like over a like gully, and then over a hill on the other side. And we let this group of guys play through because we were just kids. We were in high school.
Right.
And so we're waiting for them. Now they go over the hill on the other side, and he goes, "Go check and see if they've made it, if they're far enough away." And I go,
right.
I go, "Yes, sir." And I got my club in my hand. I give him a salute, and I run down the hill, up the next hill. I get to the top hill, and I drop to the prone position and put my club out like a gun, and then I start waving to him like, "Come on." He's just standing back there shaking his head because
I'm sure he wanted
this
to
is
kill
Franklin Country Club. This is like highfalutin to him, and he's
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. This is like the pinnacle of Franklin society.
yeah. And I'm running around like G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
Idiot. Oh, good times.
good times. All right, where was I?
Marvel
Mangaverse. Spider-Man number 1. For some reason, this has jumped this week. I saw a bunch of people selling this on Facebook too. It's selling for between $35 and $50 right now. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Great if you got them. I don't know why. I don't. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man 638 through 641. This is a storyline called One Moment in Time. This has also been linked to the new Spider-Man trailer, and copies of this are starting to sell quite a bit as well. 638 and 639 are both around $10. 640 is selling for about $5 to $10, but 641 has jumped to between $50 and $75. Basically, just because of the cover art on that, which happens a lot.
So the 641 is the blue cover, right? Where he's
Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's the cover that I found. The 641. It's the only cover from that. So, and
Yeah.
it's like he's hugging Mary Jane, but the cover is the same color blue as his costume.
Yeah.
So it's like he's kind of disappeared. It's a pretty cool looking cover.
I'm sure
it
that's
really
it.
is.
Yeah, I'm sure that's it.
You'll have to go on YouTube, John, to check it out.
I will.
Or you
When
can
I
just
watch
Google
back,
it
I'll
like
see
I
it.
did.
Yeah. When I watch back, I'll see it.
There you go.
Okay, so this next one, I guess, answers my question. I should read my own notes. Ironheart number 9. This is the first meeting of Riri Williams and Shuri in comic books. So obviously they do have some connection in the comics. I didn't read this title, so maybe there's more than I knew there was. Yeah, I guess now we're specking on just people's first meetings. But this was about a $20 book. Now it's selling for between $75 and $100. Ironheart number 1 is also jumped this week, selling for about $50. And then Invincible Iron Man number 3 is the first Ironheart armor appearance, and that one's selling for about $30. So anything Riri Williams right now is just jumped through the roof ever since this confirmation.
Well, the number 9, the title on the cover is Riri Williams Ironheart, and then underneath it says "Goes to Wakanda."
Yeah. Okay. So I guess she spent some time there.
Kind of a giveaway.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Hence why I said I should read my own notes. But
there you go.
But yeah, again, I didn't read this series, so I really don't know what she did or where she went.
Yeah.
Or who she did it with. So it's possible she spends a lot of time in Wakanda.
I wonder.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually,
No, go ahead.
What if you think her, like, Shuri actually improves the suit? That's where Riri gets her suit from. Like,
Could
she
be.
takes Iron Man tech, and then she becomes, Ironheart because of Shuri.
For all I know, that's what happened. in the
Right,
comics.
exactly.
I just don't know it.
Look
Yeah.
at us speculating on something that's already been written.
Right, it's already in print. The answers I feel are out there.
Next week, we speculate on the Old Testament.
Yeah. Right. Next up, Oblivion Song, issue number 1. This is back in the spotlight because it was just announced that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to produce and star in an adaptation of this. Now, we had heard that this had been optioned previously, but now we know that Jake Gyllenhaal is attached. The regular cover is selling for between $20 and $30, but there was also a pink signature variant cover when this came out, and it is now selling for between $50 and $75. So,
Yep. And if you look on YouTube, it's like magic. The signature turns pink.
just like that, right in
Look
front
at
of your
that.
face.
Isn't that crazy?
Just like that. And then last but not least, New Teen Titans number 21. This is the first appearance of Brother Blood. It's only selling for about $10, but there are teasers for season 3 of Titans that hint at the Church of Blood. So, like everything else, like everything's in this season, I guess, of Titans.
Yeah.
But you know, that's got this seeing a little bit of extra movement as well. So,
Yep.
Remains to be seen whether the Church of Blood shows up or not. But Brother Blood was a big villain throughout the Teen Titans run in the 80s, so I wouldn't be surprised at some point to see him.
Yep. And number 21 has him right on the cover.
Yep.
So.
And
Alrighty.
as I said, that is it for back issue bonus.
All right. Let's get to FOC. And if you have young children in the room, you may want
Yes,
to avert their
you might
eyes
want
from
to
the
avert their
YouTube
eyes 'cause
screen.
there's a couple of covers that I really liked this week.
This first one is not it.
Is not it. I like this one, but
I
it
do
is
too.
not one of my favorites.
But it's gonna get hot in here.
From DC, Batman number 113, Jorge Molina. It's a pretty cool variant cover. And then several new series from DC this week. We have Aquaman The Becoming, number 1 of 6 with 2 covers. We have a new Black Label series, Batman versus Bigby, A Wolf in Gotham, number 1 of 6 with 2 covers. This is another one-shot, Batman Secret Files, Miracle Molly, with multiple covers. And then Suicide Squad King Shark, number 1 of 6 with 2 covers.
Yep.
Moving down to Image, we have Frontiersman, issue number 1. There's 2 covers for this. The one you're probably looking at, the black and white cover, is actually the B cover. I didn't post the A cover because it was one of those wraparound covers, and I don't like the way they show up on my Facebook feed. So,
Well, you were too busy posting multiple covers of the last one we're gonna do.
I was. And there's one right before that as well. But anyway, moving on to Marvel, we have variant covers for Moon Knight number 3 by Greg Land.
That's a cool cover.
And it is a very cool cover. And then new series, The Death of Doctor Strange, number 1 of 5 with multiple covers. The first of my favorite covers this week is Vampirella number 24. I don't usually show Vampirella variants because there are generally way too many to look at, but this one did stick out to me. That wasn't a Freudian slip. I meant to do that. Variant cover by Shannon Mayer. And then finally from Titan Comics, we have a new series called Gun Honey, issue number 1 of 4. Dick. There's multiple covers here, but the one that I posted is the Adam Hughes FOC variant cover.
You posted 2.
Well, because I wanted to post the series, and then I wanted to post the variant cover.
Okay,
So-
which one is the variant? I don't know which is which.
Oh, I'm sure you do. If I took the time to post a second cover,
Yeah, but I don't know which one you posted second. That's what I'm saying. When I have them here and they fall in order. So I just relay.
the Adam. Well, I can't see what you're looking at, but the Adam Hughes cover is basically the bikini shot
on the beach
cover.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the first cover that I have. Okay,
Yeah.
and then the other one's just the.
Is Bill Sienkiewicz actually is
Okay.
the artist on the A cover? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okie dokie.
okie dokie.
We'll hold the show there.
Yeah. Moving right along.
Moving right along. All right, is that it?
Yeah. That is it for FOC.
All righty. All right, let's get into checkout.
All right. The first book we're going to talk about is from Image Comics. It's called Second Chances, issue number 1. It was written by Ricky Mamone, and it had art by Max Bertolini. So Second Chance refers to basically a hotline that you can call and get yourself a new identity if you need one. LeBlanc is the man who runs the hotline. And basically, yes.
It's his business, yep.
Yeah, the tagline is all you need to get a new identity is some cash, a proper referral, and a good reason to start over. And so that's what he does. That's his business.
And there are no third chances.
Right. I want to say I read the super rare variant of this book. Mine, they forgot to color, but I don't know how yours was.
Yeah.
when you read it.
That's what it was,
anyway,
black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white. I'm being facetious.
I get it.
Yeah, this is the black and white book, and it feels like it should be, right? Like it's kind of got a noir feeling to it, and the black and white I think worked here. I will say I thought the art in this was fantastic. I've never heard of Max Bertolini, but I really liked the artwork here. But yeah, this is basically LeBlanc. He gets a call from an old acquaintance, somebody that he knew from his past, and this person is in need of protection and needs to disappear. And well, actually, he's not really looking to disappear. He's calling basically to say goodbye, it seems like. And LeBlanc wants to go and see if he can help this guy out. Goes to meet up with him, and then things happen from there. Like, I don't want to get into too much again of the details of this, but this is a kind of like an action noir mystery book.
Had a little fantasy to it too.
It did.
Or was that more like drug induced? I couldn't tell.
Well, it is drug and there's a lot of things happening here that I feel like are hallucinations, because there's a character called Miss Nobody, and she meets up with another character and drugs her, and it feels like going back to the main guy, he was a victim of that as well, because they're seeing basically people in their lives as demons and taking action against them, and basically killing them because they think they're demons. But this is all being, like, all the strings are being pulled here by Miss Nobody. So, I don't really know where this is going. But I thought it was really good. Like, it was interesting. I liked the art. I thought the story was good. I'm really interested to see where this goes. So, I enjoyed it. I definitely recommend picking it up.
I agree. I felt like I really did like the artwork. I colored mine in, by the way. I thought
did you?
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really liked the artwork.
I left my crayons at school today. So.
I felt like the art worked with the story very well.
Yes.
And as much as like it explains itself, but at the same time, you're not 100% sure where this is going.
Right, because I kind of understand.
You know what's happening.
I kind of understand what was happening with the daughter Emma, but I'm not quite sure what was going on with, because, well, here's the thing, and this is going to get us into little spoilers a little bit. But when LeBlanc meets up with the guy in the first place, he mentions that the daughter is named Emma. And so at least my assumption is that the character we meet later, named Emma, is his daughter. But he doesn't survive, but yet she keeps talking about her father. So I'm not quite sure if it is the same or not, because there's another character you meet in the office building who you get the impression might be her father. So I don't really know exactly what was going on. And that's why I'm saying there's a little bit of mystery that's happening there.
Yeah.
Maybe she's referring to her father and doesn't know what has actually happened with him yet. I don't know.
Right. Well, and that's the whole second chances thing.
Right.
So, and that's what I mean. Like, you know what's going on, but there's so much intrigue that you want to get to the second book,
right?
Second chances. But yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought it was very. We say that we don't say this all the time, but yeah, it was very creative.
Yes,
it's after weeks and weeks of artists and ghosts and stuff, and then all of it.
There was no artist and no ghosts.
No, and I thought it was fun. It was something different, and it is not fun. Actually, it's
not
a darker story,
right?
But that was refreshing.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, there was no ghost love story happening.
No, yeah, that was fun. That was almost a month straight.
Yeah,
of just like oh boy, here's another one.
Yeah,
and they were good, but you're just like, all right, I just want to read about Batman now.
Right.
All right. And the second book?
The second book is from Boom Studios. It's called Eat the Rich. This is issue number 1 of 5. It was written by Sarah Gailey, had art by Pius Beck, cover art by Kevin Tong. So yeah, this focuses on a woman named Joey who has just graduated from law school, and she is dating a very wealthy guy that she met at school, and is going to meet his family for the first time, basically, in the fictional town of Crestfall Bluffs, which is where all the wealthy people go hang out. So on the surface, this is just kind of, somebody that's a little bit out of their league going to meet the wealthy parents of their boyfriend. And not really fitting in. They on the surface are trying to be very nice and polite to her, but there's all kinds of little jabs that are being thrown in about the way she dresses and different, even wanting to like carry her own luggage and things like that, they're just kind of turning their noses down on her a bit. And, she's trying to,
she's nervous about fitting in.
She is, and she's trying to talk with some of the servants, and the servants are, basically telling her, look, if you want to fit in, you can't be talking to me, all this kind of stuff. But while all this is going on, they're planning a party for the groundskeeper who is retiring. And they're throwing in a lot of little innuendo about survival throughout this entire book. And you start to realize that there's something dark going on here. And I feel like I've got the answer already, and you probably do too. But it seems like they're cannibals, and they eat their help.
But the book is Eat the Rich, so
it is right.
Like,
so I'm not quite sure,
doing?
But
because didn't it feel like about halfway through, maybe 2/3 of the way through, all of a sudden I got the vibe of like the book The Lottery type thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's his turn. Remember his buddy had to MC it, and he goes up with the mic, and he's like, yeah, and he didn't want to do it. So it was like, that's where I felt like it was like The Lottery, where I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and he's telling the girl to get out of here or whatever. But at the end scene, wasn't it? I feel like it was the gardener that they were attacking on the beach.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm with you where it says eat the rich, but he also made comment early on about because the girl made the comment about how they felt like they were super close to their help or whatever. And the guy said something to the lines of, well, they're a part of us or something like that. You know what I mean? Oh. Alluding to the fact that they've probably eaten them all. But my thing is, like, why would you work for these dudes? Like,
you don't know it going in.
Yeah, but it feels like they know it after the first time it happens. They figure it out, right?
Get out.
Yeah. So again, it's one of those things where you don't know exactly what's going on. There's some things happening here that they allude to, but you don't know for sure until you get to issue 2. I feel like. But again, another book. I liked this book. Again, I'm not gonna say I enjoyed it because it's very creepy, but
It's wicked creepy. But yeah, you enjoy that. I mean,
I
it's
enjoy
fun to
it in
read
the sense that
Yeah.
it was fun to read and all that. Like, I'm not looking to eat my help or anything. So
I don't have any help.
I don't have any help, but
It's a good diet.
you don't know what's going on the underneath all of this, but you do know that something's definitely going on, and it is not as things appear. So, again, I'm on board for number 2. I didn't like the art in this one as much as I did the first book, but it was good. It was fine. Like it didn't stand out necessarily, but it was okay. But the writing I liked a lot. So, I'm on board for both of these books. I liked both of them.
All right, then what's the title then? What are we going to name this show?
I think originally I was going to say Eat the Rich, but as I talked about these books again, I feel like I liked Second Chances more.
Yeah.
So I think Second Chances is probably the title. Going into it, I thought I liked the other one more, but talking through them,
I
like Second Chances.
Yeah.
I like
feel
Second
like
Chances more.
The art works better. The story flows a little bit better. I thought Eat the Rich flowed fine. I
did.
You felt the angst of her meeting the parents. Like you said, it opens up where she's basically panicking because she's going to meet the family, and then all of a sudden he goes into a panic, and she's like, "Wait a minute, he's panicking now." At least, so
yeah, if he's panicking, that means I have to hold together.
But it draws you into the story, which was good. But then all of a sudden the story hooks to the left, and you're like, "Holy, what the heck's going on here?"
Right.
But yeah, Second Chances. There's a lot more intrigue, a little bit more thought-provoking going into it. Like, where's this going to go? So, yeah, I agree. I'd like to argue with you and then give you Second Chances, but I agree.
All right.
So, Second Chances number 1 it is from Image Comics. Right. They already, the listeners already knew. So
they already know.
We just like to...
We just talked them through our process.
Right. It's even better when we argue about it and they go, they already know. Just hit fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. All right, before we get to other books that we've read, let's do something we forget about every single week. What's coming next week, John? I know. And I grabbed the images for it. Because all I do, like, for next week, like, so every week I'll number these images because of the way I do this. And it's like book 1, book 2. And then for coming next week is book 17 and book 18. Then what do? Right. Next week I label one of them 1 and one of them 2.
There you go.
So there you go. So what do we got coming up next week?
So we have Echo Lands, issue number 1.
Okay.
And King Spawn, issue number 1.
I can't wait.
Those are the 2 I'm looking forward to read.
And there's the McFarlane cover. That's what I put on YouTube, is the other McFarlane cover with the real, like, all black background and everything. Really nice. All right, we know about King Spawn. What do you know about this Echo Lands number 1?
The only thing I know about it is that it's configured weird.
Looks like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, deal. Well, it's a weird book in that the staples are on the top. Like, the book reads
like a notepad?
Like you've turned it sideways.
Like a legal pad?
Yeah.
Like you have to flip the pages up and down?
No, you read it. Whatever you see as the top of the book, that's where the staples are. So you actually have to turn it on its side. And you read it that way.
All right, so you do. I thought you were saying like you flip the pages up.
No.
Okay, so you turn the book on its side.
It on its side, and so you're reading it kind of long ways.
I haven't even had a chance to feel about that. I mean, it's the right shape, but now he's got to turn it, and you know how he likes to streamline everything. I
appreciate the fact that they kept it the same size, so it still fits it. It's the same size as a regular book. You just read it differently.
Right.
So it still will go in your bag and board and fit in your comic box just fine. But it's read differently. Other than that, I don't know much about it. I haven't even thumbed through it. My delivery came in so late today. I just barely finished in time to walk out the door so we could come home and do this. So, I didn't get a chance to thumb through anything really. I didn't look at King Spawn either, and just put them all away, and I'll look at them tomorrow. So
I can't wait to read that. I might read that right away as soon as we're done with the show. Meeting tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yep.
But yeah, so on YouTube, I'm tilting my head to try and look at this book sideways because it actually looks fine as a cover.
It does because they
straight up and down. But yeah,
they made it so that it could still
saying,
sit in the rack, and you could still see the title.
All right. So Dr. Cho doesn't need to go on another rant. We're good. Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. All right.
Doesn't mean he won't, but I don't think he needs to.
Why do I gotta turn my effing book sideways?
I have another.
What?
I have a bone to pick with you a little bit too, because I listen to that show a lot. I listen to that show more lately. I've been listening to it a little bit more regularly. And at the end of the show, Fry Guy there is always telling Joe to stay sexy. And you've never once told me to stay sexy. So
you know why? You know why?
Because I'm not.
Because I don't have to tell you to say sexy, buddy. You're always sexy.
All right.
See?
See you. All right, you pulled your fat out of the fire there.
There you go. I mean, he's telling him to say sexy because he sees him around town and he goes, "What happened, buddy?
Yeah,
you look like crap. Stay sexy.
Yeah,
don't slip." I don't have to tell you that. I've known you a long time.
He never tells me to stay sexy. I feel like less than. So
you're not less than. You're greater than, my friend.
There we go.
I've known you a long time.
Mine goes this way.
I've seen you in gym class. You're always sexy.
There you go. Oh, jeez. All right, moving on. I also read Nightwing this week.
Hey, for those of you not on YouTube, John is red. He is sorry he brought this up.
I am. So she fell onto Dick. I need to take a drink. I'm going to make that a drinking game now.
What?
I'm going to start bringing alcohol in, and every time you play that sounder during one of our shows, I'm going to take a drink, and we'll see how I am by the end of each episode.
Well, if you tell me that's what's going on, I mean, I shorten these shows up real quick.
Exactly.
And back issue bonus.
My head will be down on the table.
Oh, all right. So, you read Nightwing came out this week? I didn't even see
last
it.
week. Yeah, last week.
I'm sorry.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see
new
that
issue
one.
the new issue of Nightwing came out. It was really good.
Gonna read that right when we're done.
Yeah, I really liked it. Continues the storyline with Melinda, the sister, and Heartless. There's a little reveal with Heartless at the end that really makes me want to read the next issue, because now I want to know who that character is, because there's something that he says at the end that really piqued my interest. So when you read that, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I feel like that's a character that we're going to be surprised when we figure out who it is. But yeah, again, just more story with Melinda and the background there, and some pretty good scenes with Dick and Barbara, also in this book. So it was a really good issue. I enjoyed it.
All right. See, that's what stinks is I honestly in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't been to the store because of work. And I haven't even gotten to the store, and I miss Dr. Joe. And every week he texts me in the morning, and he's like, "Today?" And I'm like, "Can't. I'm up north, or I'm here and there." So I am reading everything digitally right now. And for some reason, I scanned through and I didn't even see it. I just bought it as you were talking, so I'll be reading it later. But yeah,
cool.
So, but I won't be there tomorrow either, Dr. Joe. Sorry, buddy. I'm going to be up north
today.
Yeah, later this morning.
As you're listening to this,
actually, as he's listening to this, he's probably already texted me by the time he hears this.
Right.
But yeah, it stinks. But because I like, getting back to what we said, I like having those, especially like a Nightwing or the Batman series, the Spider-Man. I like having those books in hand. Right. And yeah, you could read it digitally to get the content, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So, All right. What else? So Nightwing.
I read Nightwing. I read the Nocterra. I read the next issue of Nocterra.
Yep.
Which that's a great series.
Yes.
This one really kind of pushes the reset button a little bit. A little bit, and sets the stage for kind of like the next part of the story. I feel like because this book ends with a pretty big event happening. And this has just been a great series. Again, one of those books that I hope doesn't suffer from Substack, because this is a Scott Snyder book, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, see, I don't know
with this going forward. So
that's the
like
part.
he hasn't mentioned
there's a lot
ending,
of information.
So, yeah. But this has been a great series. I really, really have enjoyed it, and the art is phenomenal in this book too. Just really a solid book all the way around. So, did you read that one?
Not yet. Nope.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to that one.
Probably haven't read any of these from last week. Radiant Black. Did you read the new Radiant Black?
Nope. I didn't do a lot of reading this week.
Yeah. So again, another issue that also feels like it. I guess last issue sort of hit the reset button a little bit for this, and this one picks up from there. But yeah, this feels like the story's going in a little bit of a different direction now, and but it's also been really good. Like I've really been enjoying this book as well, and Kyle Higgins has said that this is basically this is not necessarily a book with a specific ending in sight. So this book could go on basically as long as people still want it, and so
that's already been optioned too, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I remember hearing that or not. But again, now based on the way this is going, it could be a series. This could definitely be a TV series.
Yeah.
Where some of these books, you get 6 issues and that's maybe a movie and that's it. Something like this that is so open ended could definitely be a series and go on indefinitely. So. I would like to see it optioned, but I haven't heard specifically, or I don't remember hearing that it has been.
I swear it has.
And then the last thing that stood out, like I read other books, but I took note. I actually wrote these down because you always ask me, and I always forget what I read. So
look at you.
Yeah. So the last one that I made note of was The Trial of Magneto, issue number 1, came out last week. Happy to report that there were no data pages in this book either, so it was a very nice read.
I thought that came out this week.
No, it came out last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came out last week. So, for those that haven't been following along, Wanda, Scarlet Witch, was killed during the Hellfire Gala event, and this is basically now the continuation of that. So it kind of starts with the forensic investigation on Krakoa, where they ultimately, spoilers, feel like Magneto was the killer. Of course, he denies it, and I don't think he actually was the killer. But they come to him thinking that he did it, and they want to take him in and put him on trial for her murder. So, I thought it was a pretty good first issue. Like I said, there was a lot of cool stuff happening. It was basically like the Forensic Files, but with mutant powers. So everybody that has these cool abilities to do different things were, kind of assisting in the investigation to piece together everything that happened the night that Wanda was killed. Now, for those that don't remember, Wanda is not super popular with the mutants, and so there's not a lot of people that are sad that she's dead, but they still feel like since it happened on Krakoa and during the gala that they have to, if nothing else, put on appearances
they have to answer for it.
Like the Avengers and the rest of the world who are going to have questions when it is revealed to them that Wanda was killed. So, really good book. Like I said, I thought the story was good. The art was excellent. The lack of data pages was very welcome. And I think this is a 5-issue series, and I think it's going to be a good series. So, cool. Even if you've kind of fallen off of reading the X-Men, you don't have to be up on anything to read this. Everything you need to know was in this book. So, if you've not caught up, it doesn't matter. You can just pick this up and read it. So, I recommend it. I thought it was pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the death of Doctor Strange when you said that.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know why
that
the trial of Magneto. I don't know why that jumped in my head, and I'm like, that's on FOC.
Right, which is
So I'm
just
like,
on FOC, so
Right.
it'll be out in a few weeks.
But I don't know why that jumped in my head. But what I did read is I read Batman Catwoman #6.
Yeah.
Did you read that?
I'm going to agree with, I did. And I'm going to agree with Dr. Joe again on this one. Like, I might be out on this book.
Really?
Like, I am really not liking it.
Why? The way it's jumping around? That's his big thing.
It is that in mine too. Like same as him.
Yeah,
I feel like there's just only one part of this book that I care about. And yeah, I thought the whole old Selena running around town in that costume was ridiculous. And I didn't really enjoy the beginning, the earlier, like the decorating the tree scenes with the Joker. I thought were equally ridiculous. Like this book overall, just
I like
might
how
have
it's
swung
intertwined.
me. It might have swung me away from this, like because I was a little bit on the fence, anyways, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll even continue to hate read it like Joe's doing. I might just move on, you know.
I actually like it. I do not hate it. I look forward to it. I like how I like how it's all intertwined. I don't. It was kind of weird that she's the older woman out in the cat suit and why she changed it. That I thought was a weird choice.
Well, yeah, because that's like her 1940s costume. Like that's that's one of her very early costumes. Yeah, and why she would go back to that, I have no idea.
It's like, like why didn't you? I don't know.
I'm waiting to find out before the end of this series that her and Joker had some kind of an affair as well, because it seems to be that's where he's leading the two of them. Well, I don't know, but
what I think is much like Joker is more a story about.
Well, that's definitely a Jim Gordon story.
Story, right? This one, it's supposed to be Batman Catwoman, but for the majority,
not a Batman story at all.
At all, he's dead in most of it, and it's all reminiscing. Well, he actually is dead in the story, and then they reminisce. So it's really a Catwoman story about her, the Joker, what was going on behind the scenes, all the while. Like she was, I don't know. I am enjoying it, but it's not exactly what we expected.
It's definitely not what I expected or hoped for, because I really wanted the rest of the story we were supposed to get in the regular Batman run. And I don't feel like this is what he would have done in that book if it had just continued on monthly.
Right.
This feels like something completely different. And, I don't know. I'm digging it less and less as it goes on.
Yeah. So. Along those lines, with Tynan leaving, getting a new writer.
Which feels like it probably won't be Zdarsky at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. That was disappointing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they reset the whole entire Batman universe back to having Alfred in it, bring it back to like almost like a reboot like they did with Spider-Man?
Yeah, I don't know how you keep continuity and do that at the same time, because it affects so many other books too, because then what happens? True. Like, does Nightwing, is he no longer a billionaire? Like, you can't just reset one book because it now affects other titles that are ongoing. Like, that drastically impacts what's happening in Nightwing, which I really like. So, not that I wouldn't like to have Alfred back from the dead necessarily, but like, it undoes what's happening.
Yeah.
It undoes what's happening in Nightwing, which I really think is kind of climbing to be one of my favorite books right now. So I don't know. But I feel like you don't get that hard reset unless you do another, like a New 52 or a Rebirth type of thing, which would have to be almost across the entire line and not just Batman. So I don't know if they can do that. And I don't know that I want that specific, like, again, I'm not really a fan of the fact that they killed Alfred, but I like Punchline. I don't necessarily want everything to go away, because there are things I like. Now, I could do without Ghostmaker. He could go away as far as I'm concerned.
I don't even read that story at the end of the book.
I don't
anymore.
either. I just end the book and move on to another one.
Yeah, I
but
could do
even when
without
he
that.
shows up in the main book, like I don't really dig him that much. So there's things that I could do without.
Well, he
but
does
there's
know
other-
Morse code. We know that.
Yes. But there's other parts of what's happened that I like. So it's hard to say. But I don't know how another writer can come in and just completely hit the reset button.
You're right. You're right. That's a good
without,
point. I didn't even think of it
without
like that
every
way.
other book. Yeah. So.
Yep. I read I Am Batman, #1. Did you read that?
I didn't read that. No, I didn't. I
Little
feel
too-
myself not interested in that. So.
Little too on the nose with some current events. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Police. The police caused the
Well, it's
riot.
a future state. It's a future state thing,
but,
right? So
but it basically it's like what goes on now. Like, so people were protesting and they had masks on, and the police started the riot because they started firing into them and beating them up. And then it just got out of hand. I didn't like that part, but I did like the story by the end of it. I thought that was kind of cool. It took a twist of almost like RoboCop / and Batman type thing.
Okay.
So, it's the first third of it was kind of tough for I don't like my current, like the crappy current events that are going on now. I don't want to see them in my comics.
Right, to be in my entertainment as well.
That's why I'm reading the comics, and just pick it up and check it out, and you'll know exactly what you'll be like. Yeah, what? Like, come on, like you could have. Yeah, it was weird. Then Star Wars #16.
I did read that. Yes.
Yeah, it's Kira. That's how you saying it? Kira.
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 Now, Kira, they've also announced that she's getting an not ongoing, but they're doing like a 4 to 6 issue miniseries with her as well. So I feel like that is going to be our Solo 2. Like that's what we're going to get as far as the rest of her story.
It's kind of cool in this book to see it like crossed over where all the characters, that what's his name's newer from Solo,
right?
But Han's frozen in carbonite, but even Leia gets to see her. So it you know what I mean? It sounds stupid, but that's what I mean. Like those two characters are seeing each other, and like in Solo, you're like, where's Leia right now? And
but I also want to know how she gets to where she is, right? Like when we last saw her, she wouldn't have been okay with leaving Han in carbonite and selling him to the highest bidder. She was still kind of in love with him. So like what's happened over the years? And so maybe that's what we find out in the miniseries. Like, I don't know if it continues forward from the War of the Bounty Hunters or maybe it's like backstory. I don't have all the details of it, but
she's battling
there's kind of like we kind of need to find out how she gets where she is now, and what happened between the end of Solo and this. And so I feel like that will be kind of like our
you got to imagine she got
Solo
trained
2.
by
Maul.
Darth Maul, right? And then that's why like Vader says in this one, like I feel the Force within you. And so she's got some kind of powers, and she's doing okay on her own, as they say in the book. They're like, no, she's probably not going to live, but she's doing all right. So that's a series I'll read.
Oh, I'll definitely read it. Yeah. I just
that'd be interesting.
Like you said,
do you know?
I just saw an announcement for it, so it's probably a little ways away.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't showed up in previews or anything, so it's not orderable yet. So it's probably end of the year. Yeah.
How about the end of that book? Now, we know past the ending of this book, so it makes it okay. But what did you think of the end of that book when Luke takes off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You said, it's kind of like,
sorry, I can't win. I'm out.
Yeah.
And he's,
isn't that
crappy?
He's not. Yeah, but like you said, we know more than that, so I guess it didn't bother me too much.
He called
but
Vader's bluff, basically. Right. But what if Vader just, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was kind of like, yeah.
I kind of didn't like that.
Because what does Leia think, you know?
I know.
Like, at this point, she doesn't know what happens next, so she's probably like, what do you mean you're leaving?
Exactly.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out. I can't win.
Yeah.
So unless he's using the Force and he knows he's seen futures, I don't know. Like he knows he's the best opportunity. Like I hate to do this to Han, but hey, I'm the best opportunity to defeat him. So I can't do it right now, but it just seems so like sorry, gotta go.
Well, it's very it's not very heroic, right? Yeah, it's not very heroic. So, yeah. That was a weird part of Star Wars lore right there. To add that in to be like, well, yeah, because it's canon now, right?
It's canon
happened
now, and what does that mean for Return of the Jedi when he shows up and he's like? You finally see him. Love you. You don't know I left you to die earlier.
Right.
You were almost Han Solo in 2.
Right.
So that was all right. That's all I read this week, but I still have to read Nightwing. Very excited.
Yeah, definitely read Nightwing and Noctera if you haven't read it. Yeah, they're both really good.
Good series. So
yeah.
All right. You ready? What do we got next? We're up to Real World.
Yeah.
You ready for that?
I am. I also had to write these down.
Oh, no.
I had a big week.
All right. Here we go.
I watched a lot this week.
All right. Rifle them off.
All right. So the first show we finished watching was Black Summer. So I think we had half of season 2 to finish last week. But yeah, I mean, kind of just like what I said last week. The show was fine. It does set itself up for a season 3. I don't know whether it will get one or not. I probably will be out for season 3 though. Like it was okay, but I didn't like it that much. Just kind of going back to what I said last week, I just thought the characters were really stupid. Like they just made so many stupid decisions and things that they did that by the end of it, I was just kind of really turned off because I'm like, you guys are just too dumb to live. Like you should get killed by zombies, you know, because they're smarter than you are. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily recommend it as a high pick, but it was fine. And then I finished also the last couple of episodes of Sex Life, which also set it up for a potential season 2, and I'll probably be out for that as well.
You'll be out for it?
Yeah, I won't watch it, I don't think. Other than her being naked a lot, like I said, the show overall wasn't that great, and she was very unlikable. Like,
well, isn't that the point of the show?
The way this season ends, I was so ticked off with her that I was just like, I don't even know if I want to watch any more of this. So
yeah.
So again, I probably won't come back for this. And honestly, I don't think it did very well for Netflix at all. So there probably isn't going to be a season 2. And it does end in such a way that the story is complete. Like if you just watched one season, it's done, but it also left some threads open to come back if they wanted to. So again, I would only recommend it if you want to see a lot of nudity. Who doesn't?
I'm gonna try to get Jen to watch it.
Yeah. But like I said, that was something one of the shows I watched.
I saw who the actress is.
Yeah.
She used to be on Person of Interest.
Yeah, she's been in a bunch of things. That's what I'm saying. I knew you would know her once you saw her. And she's an attractive woman. Like, I had no problem seeing her running around naked for the entire episode, for the entire season. but there's only so much of that. Like with no story to follow, there's only so much of that.
They might not have a season 2, but you'll watch season 1 again.
I might watch season 1 a couple times. Yeah. And like I said, that was something I watched while Lydia was like when she's out at work and stuff, and I could watch with something to watch without her because I knew she wouldn't like it. But along those lines, when I finished that, I was looking for something new to watch again that she probably wouldn't watch, and I ended up tumbling back. I was scrolling through the different streaming services that we have, and I got to HBO Max, and I stumbled across Doctor Who again. And so I just started kind of watching the greatest hits of Doctor Who. Like I just was like flipping through the seasons and watching. Well, my greatest hits. Like I was just kind of flipping through the seasons and watching like my favorite.
I thought that was like they had a playlist.
Oh no.
Doctor Who playlist.
Yeah, just kind of picking out some of my favorite episodes and just picking and choosing, because I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go start to finish through all 13 seasons again.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun, because they're ultimately just one-off stories. I mean, every season has a thread that it pulls on, right. And it has a kind of a big bad at the end of every season almost. But I had a lot of fun just picking through a couple of my favorite episodes and watching those. So knowing that you haven't seen any of them, I won't go through them because you won't know what any of them are. But if you want to do a little bit of a dive before you start watching the show, I can definitely give you
cool
7 or 8 episodes to watch.
Yeah, you did that with Picard, and it was helpful.
Yeah, and they're just really, really good episodes. And then we watched The Vault on Netflix. It was a new movie that came out last week. It stars Freddie Highmore, who is the Good Doctor.
Yeah.
If you watch that. This was pretty good. This is, I feel like, well, I don't feel like it was all in English, and it was shot in English. There was no subtitles, but this is a Spanish movie. Like it was shot in Spain, and I think all the production and everything was done by
now,
by Spain.
Is this about like a bank vault, or did he jump over something really high?
No, it's a bank vault. It's a heist movie. It's like kind of like the classic heist movie.
Right.
He played a character very similar to his character on The Good Doctor. Kind of genius, problem solver, and the Bank of Spain has the most impenetrable vault known to exist. So secret that nobody even knows how it works or why it's impenetrable. They just know that it is. And he's tasked to figure out a way to... Too. Yeah. His task is to figure out a way to break in, basically. It was great. I really liked it. I almost texted you middle of the week and said, go watch The Vault, because I really liked it.
So it's just a movie, right?
It's just a movie, yeah. It's 2 hours. But the funny part is that his character was so similar to the one he played on The Good Doctor, is every time there was a scene where he was trying to figure out a puzzle for the vault, I just kept seeing all the pieces of the vault like showing up on the side of the screen like he does on The Good Doctor, where like in his mind he's picturing all this stuff.
Right.
And I was like, I could just see him doing that with like all the mechanisms of the bank vault and all that stuff. I thought it was kind of cool, but yeah, that was a pretty good movie. Cool. Yep, got more. Like I said, it was a busy week. Watched a series on Netflix.
Not very busy week.
Well, yeah, not very busy because we watched a lot of TV this week. I watched a series called Hit and Run. It was also on Netflix. This is actually an Israeli show, and it is subtitled into English. But once again, you could tell you could definitely see the mouths not matching the voices here. But it's basically just like it sounds. The crux of it is there's a hit and run accident. The main character's wife is killed. Episode 1 in a hit and run. No spoilers. It's right in the trailer for this. As he's trying to figure out what happened, obviously the mysteries unfold, and she was not exactly who he thought she was, and there was more to it than just a simple hit and run, essentially. I really liked the show a lot. I think you and Jen would both enjoy it. Also sets up for a season 2, but this just came out, so there's only one season available for now. But yeah, it was really good. 9 episodes, 45 minutes or so each. Cool. Think you guys would like it. Watched Reminiscence, which is the new Hugh Jackman movie that premiered Friday night on HBO Max.
I was going to check it out. We haven't checked it out yet, but we want to. But I've heard some.
It was mediocre. Yeah, it was mediocre at best. It had a pretty cool premise. Yeah. Like the idea behind it was pretty interesting and good, but I felt it was just really dull. Like it just kind of dragged on a lot.
That's funny. That's what I've read.
But the idea was great. Hugh Jackman's always good. Rebecca Ferguson plays like his love interest. That's a plus. And Thandie Newton also plays like his partner in crime in this show. So I don't know. Once again, it's a great home theater movie. The Atmos and all that stuff is pretty good because there's a lot of running water and the ocean sounds and all that stuff are pretty cool. Yeah. So maybe kind of like you said with Hurricane Heist, it might be worth it for you to watch it just to get the home theater stuff. Yeah. I don't know that honestly. I don't think Jen, like Lydia, just thought it was boring. She didn't really get into it. So I don't know. It was fair. We also watched Gunpowder Milkshake, which is a movie on Netflix. Stars, Nebula. What's her name? Karen Gillan. Yeah. Stars her and
also in Jumanji and
I'm blanking on real names for some reason, but Cersei Lannister played her mom. Lena Headey. Lena Headey was in it.
From 300 and
then it has
Chronicles.
Angela Bassett. It had Carla Gugino, I think is her name, and
Angela Bassett. She's like the Morgan Freeman. She brings the credibility to the movie.
Right. Yeah, and the other. Oh, there was one other lady that you definitely know who she is. I just can't think of her name.
But anyway, this is so far.
This is very Tarantino-esque, but it's not Tarantino.
Really?
But it felt really Kill Bill to me, but not quite as good. Like
Rodriguez? Who did it?
No, nobody that I knew of. Like, the name was not one I recognized, but it just kind of had that feel. Nice. But she's a hit woman, and the hit woman with a heart of gold, right? Like the other one is Paul Giamatti. He plays the he's awesome. He's kind of like her handler. Like he sends her out on the jobs. So in a nutshell, like she gets sent on a job and gets sucked in by the little girl of the guy she's sent to kill, and her heart of gold comes out, and she kind of goes against the firm, and they have to. It's really John Wick, except instead of a dog, it's a little girl, right? And the firm is the Continental. Like it was really like they have the diner, which is basically the Continental. That's where they all go to meet and they do all their business. It was really John Wick / Tarantino and all that. Again, kind of fun, but kind of stupid, and might be fun to watch, but it wasn't really great.
Sounds like The Heist.
Yeah.
Hurricane Heist, I should say.
Hurricane Heist. And then last but not least, and we're not finished with this show. We just started watching it on HBO Max called White Lotus.
See, I should start limiting you to what you've finished.
I know. Well, this will be done by the time we talk next week.
I know.
Well, everything else on here is done except for this. This is the one we just started. White Lotus. It's got Steve Zahn. It's got Connie Britton, who played
from
the mom in Friday Night Lights and other things. It's got your favorite and mine, Alexandra Daddario, is in this.
Yeah, she
really
was in,
cool.
what was the one with The Rock? She was in that one.
Yeah, San Andreas.
Yeah.
Stifler's mom is in it. I don't know her name, but I just know her as Stifler's mom.
Yeah.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a series. It's basically White Lotus is a hotel in Hawaii.
Okay.
And so they're all different guests that are staying for the week in this hotel. And it's kind of half comedy, half dramedy, I guess. It's been pretty good though. Like it's been pretty funny. Again, it's 45 minute or so episodes. We've watched a couple of them. Steve Zahn is always good. You know, it's just everybody is so dysfunctional. It's just kind of one of those things. And the guy that runs the resort is, you know, a little bit of a shifty character, and you know, everybody's kind of after him for one thing or another.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think you guys would like it. It's pretty funny. Cool. And so
what's that one again?
It's called White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Yeah.
Right.
It's on HBO Max.
I think we were talking.
It actually
about
just
that.
finished.
Yeah.
It just finished, but
we were
just
talking
kinda
about that
started
at my nephew's birthday party on Saturday with my brother and sisters, and we were talking about different shows. And I think that was definitely one of them. They were saying, "Oh, you should check that out." So we didn't check that one out yet. We it's funny. A couple of the other ones they said, well, like we've already seen that one. It was like from 2013.
Right.
It was the one. I can't remember the name of it, but we started it. And then we were like, yeah, we've seen this one. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so you're caught up on Ted Lasso, right?
Oh, for sure.
We are.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Unreal.
It's great.
Like, it's so great, and it's so disappointing when you don't have enough. I mean, that last one, when it was so great, like how they did that whole, like, the romantic comedies.
Yeah,
and they like imitated all of them.
I almost texted you and said you had me at Coach, but I wasn't sure if you had watched it yet.
Yeah. Oh, you. And I was
like, well, if he hasn't,
I would have been like, "What's?"
I was like, if he hasn't watched it, he'll get it when he does, and he'll text me back.
Exactly.
But I thought that was awesome. You had me at Coach.
Yeah. It was.
I'm not quite sure why we got the Christmas episode in August, like last week, but it was still a great episode.
But
it was
a Christmas. Well, what else are you going to do with the show? Came out now. You can't put that out in December.
I know, but I guess you just don't have a Christmas episode, right?
Right. But I think they wanted.
Lots of shows don't have them, but
I like when what's the guy's name? The guy that Higgins. That's what it is.
Higgins. Yeah, he's great. He's a good character.
He's great, but he's like, I just host some players. We usually get 2.
Yeah,
and now
and
it's
then
like,
this year the whole team shows up.
And it's like that's what Ted Lasso's done. He's changed the entire thing, and it's like, it's. How about on Garmin today talking about tea? And the whole time I'm laughing because I don't like tea.
You just heard, I don't either, but you had probably just seen that.
And it's like, I've seen like it comes up almost in every episode, and he's but that opening episode, the very first one, and he's like, oh, he spits it out.
Well, and they went on a big Ted Lasso tangent yesterday because he just discovered it.
Oh, really? I missed
Ralph
that. It must have been at the end. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, well, Ralph just discovered the show, too. So he was just talking about how he binged the entire thing in one day, last week. He was, like, very anti-Apple, and so he wasn't going to watch it because he just didn't want to have Apple products. Yeah. But then I guess on the plane coming back from Philly, they had the first 2 episodes for free on the plane. So he checked them out and then came home and bought Apple TV and binged the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's just that good. I mean, it's really, really a good show.
Yeah, it is. Jen is, it's so funny because she's like, how was I so wrong? I was like, what was wrong with me that day? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't like Shazam.
Like, I'm so sad when the 22 minutes are over.
I know.
Like I don't have any more.
And I love, what's his name? The player there, the coach, that's now a coach.
Oh, Roy.
Roy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is awesome. I love.
It's like, we could channel our inner Roy.
I love, like I said to Jen, I go, I want to see an interview with him, like outside the show and like have him talk like me. But like on
Right,
the show,
'cause
he
he's-
just talks like this.
Yeah, because he probably just has a normal
Normal voice.
Like,
It's like what's her name that plays Bernie on Big Bang Theory?
Oh, on Big
Like,
Bang
she
Theory,
doesn't
yeah,
really
she doesn't
talk like that.
Yeah,
You know.
Melissa
but-
Rauch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, and that scene when he's in this latest episode, when he's like, "We're just sitting here guessing. We don't know. We're just judging them." He's just like, he basically put down like all of the show. Put down all of like ESPN, all the
all
talk
of
shows,
sports broadcasting.
We don't know.
Everything.
He goes, "We're just judging them." And then when he leaves and the main host, I don't know what movie that was from. I can't remember, but you know when you see it, like they're imitating a movie where he's like, "Just go." It's like,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's one of the rom-com movies. I just don't know which one.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, all those little lines that Ted was giving Roy when he was trying to convince him to become. He's like, "I'm just a boy standing in front of another boy, asking him to be a coach or something like that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Shut up."
Yeah,
so
I think it was F off.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
You got too many bleeps in this episode. So.
Right. Yeah. There's only one person worse than Dr. Joe with the F bombs.
Yeah.
That's Roy.
Yeah.
All right. So we're also, after recording this podcast, Jen and I will be finishing up on Kevin Can F Himself. Speaking of F bombs. We just got the week for free, the AMC Plus. So we're doing that and we're finishing. It is awful. Absolutely.
Oh, it is.
It's so bad. But you just
But awful in a good way. Like, you're not saying the show's awful.
It's awful because, he's awful. And you find out all the stuff he's done that is awful. But it is such a creative way to do a show.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's just awful.
Oh, he's
so
he's
stupid.
a total dirtbag. But
Oh, absolutely. And that, like when you hear the one where he ruined her life with he got her fired from that job.
yeah.
It's like, you're just like, what a jerk.
Yeah.
What a jerk. I can't think of what we did just start something last night. I can't remember the name of it though. And it's got, what's her name from X-Files?
Gillian Anderson?
Yeah. Gillian Anderson.
Is it Sex Education?
No.
Oh, because
No.
that's great. I don't know if you've seen that, but
No, I
that's a
haven't
great show.
Okay. So, no, this is an older one that we've already watched, but Jen really likes it, so we're watching it again.
Oh, okay.
How about that? And I'm like,
That's it.
No, we've seen this. It's she's an investigator. She's brought in for this guy that kills a woman, and in the opening episode, the guy breaks into her house, puts her underwear out on the bed and stuff.
Oh, I don't
You've
think I've
probably
seen
seen it. It's
Does sound familiar.
I'll get. You know what? Next week I'll write down the ones we watch.
You'll have the name?
I'll have
Yeah.
my list. Yes, we'll have the name. And for this week, for this week's podcast, home theater podcast, I am doing Kick-Ass in 4K.
Oh, yeah.
And Jen and I watched that the other day during the hurricane. Basically, that wasn't. And
the hurricane that wasn't.
the hurricane that wasn't, and it was pretty funny. But it got windy here, but it wasn't bad. We got rain. I've had worse storms just this summer, but
Right.
But yeah, so Jen had never seen Kick-Ass, and I was
really?
like, "Oh, let's watch this." I'm like, I could do it for the podcast, and you could watch it, and she's like, she read the synopsis and everything, and she's all up for it. She loves this. It's about kids that need help and kids that want to do this, and the kids, kids that want to be superheroes and comic books, and she is all about helping those kids.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
She married one. So
Exactly.
and then it goes dark. And it just
Not
keeps
quite
going
that.
down the tubes and violent, and at the end she's like, it's not what I expected, but it was really good. She's like, I was very entertained. She goes, that is graphic. And I was like, yeah, it is. So, but yeah, she really enjoyed it. So
Good.
it is a great movie.
It is. I really like it too.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
What's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
Which one?
The dude. National Treasure guy. Nick Cage.
Oh,
is
Nicolas
awesome.
Cage. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
Nicolas
great.
Cage, yeah. I like when he's in character out in the suit and he talks like Adam West
Yeah.
as Batman.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He nails it. He just talks
Yeah, he
just
does.
like Adam West. It's so funny. So funny. But yeah, you have the 2 Quicksilvers in there.
Yep, in the 2 Quicksilvers.
Yep. And that's crazy. And what else? That's it. That's all I got for this week. That's all
Cool.
I got. And of course, do you want to? We'll do it in Kryptonite. We'll talk
Okay.
Titans and What If,
Okay.
because we have the T'Challa and
Yeah.
because what are we going to talk spoiler free? I'm sure you love both of them.
I did. I didn't like What If this week as much as I did last week, but it
Really?
was still, it was still good.
Oh,
I
check-
like the Captain Carter issue.
Can you see
better.
a screen?
I can now. Oh, nice.
See that?
Yeah, Captain Carter.
Yeah, I got the T-shirt. I ordered that like the day of the show came out. It came in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got a Captain Carter T-shirt. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a nice T-shirt.
Yeah.
What did I get? Hot Topic had it. Of
Okay.
course, showed up on my phone. Go figure.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Imagine that. It's $13.
Yeah.
I don't need $13, right?
Nah.
So, but yeah, that's funny. We'll get into that in Kryptonite because I'm the other way. I actually
Okay.
like this one better than I liked Captain Carter, and obviously I bought the damn T-shirt.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, that'll do it for this week. Hey, you can find us at Brightside_chat on Twitter. You can find John exclusively at Arkham Comics with an X if you'd like to go there and talk to him. He replies bi-weekly.
Yeah.
And-
I'll get to you.
yeah, someday. But you can find us on the Nerdy Legion. And on the Nerdy Legion, we have Comic Talk Today, which is hosted by our buddy Dustin over there. And he's trying to grow his brand because he wants to do interviews and stuff. I don't know if you've listened to that podcast. Check that one out. They're really short, the podcasts, but they're short to the point. They're usually about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and it's all news stuff, rumors, everything like that. I love the podcast, absolutely love the podcast, but give him a follow over on Twitter too. I don't have his handles in front of me, but just go to Nerdy Legion, find Comic Talk Today, and you'll find that there. And he's trying to grow his brand because if you have more followers, you have more stuff, you get better opportunities at getting interviews with bigger people. So that's what he's trying to do, so he can bring more information to the people like us.
Cool.
So thought I'd give him a
Power
shout
to
out
the
that
people.
way. Yeah. But, there's also the Nerdy Legion podcast, but I haven't heard from them in quite a while. But Martin is pretty busy. I'm sure Nick is chomping at the bit to get on with that. And then there's also, what did you watch this week? There's that one. But you can see all the ones that at the open of our show on YouTube. I have them coming at you.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, you saw that, huh?
I did, yeah.
Isn't
It's
that
cool. Open.
And that's not even all of them. Those are just like that's all I had time for because
Right.
our open music isn't that long. We got to lengthen that, I guess.
Yeah.
But all right, that'll do it. We'll be on the other side with Kryptonite Key Club. So where we talk about Titans episode 4 and what if. Could be some dark conversation there. Who knows?
Okay.
All right. Thanks if you're not hanging around, thanks for listening. If you are, hey, thanks for listening.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Hey, Fred. All right, Johnny Boombots, is that door locked?
Yes.
All right, what do you want to talk first? What if or episode 4?
Well, it's up to you. Whatever you want.
All right, let's go with episode 4, since I feel like what if might be the longer one this week.
You think so?
So, yeah, I don't know. episode 4.
Okay.
It's only one
All
to
right.
talk about, and we're going to compare
Yeah.
the other two. So let's see.
Okay.
If it's not, I can always reverse it and post.
Yes, right.
I am not doing that anymore. My editing days of this podcast are done.
Yeah, it goes out.
It goes out unless like if we have an internet issue,
Right.
then I could splice it and add it together, but not like what we used to do. As you could tell, it all just flows now.
Right.
We're super professional, if
Yes,
nothing else.
Exactly.
All right, let's stop talking about stuff like that. Let's talk about Titans episode 4. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
What did you think?
I mean, I thought it was another good week. It's a good episode.
I didn't like how they handled Dawn, to be honest.
Well, I was going to say, I thought that, last week when we talked about her reaction, we kept making mention of how we didn't know how she was going to go on, basically,
Yeah.
like how she was going to get over it. And then you get to this week, and the one that's kind of really beating himself up is Superboy. And then Dawn's the one that comes around to comfort him. And, like, she seems to be, like, fine with it,
Right.
She wasn't really too broken up by what happened. She didn't seem to blame herself. It was just kind of like, hey, we did the best we could, and these things happen. And then gets on a plane and disappears, and we might not see her again for the rest of the season. So,
yeah. I think we'll see her again, but I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that in real life, and I honestly don't like that for writing.
yeah.
I feel like they're missing.
It felt a little weak. It felt a little weak there, and like I said, I thought she should be more broken up over the whole thing. Like she just seemed to be okay. Like she was not happy that Hank was dead, obviously, and she was grieving that. But like she wasn't beating herself up nearly as much as I thought she would be, based on the fact that she pulled the trigger and killed him.
Right.
And by now has to know that Superboy was seconds away from saving him when she did that, because I'm sure that's come up in conversation.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like the better way to comfort Superboy is to be like, no, because what she says is what he wanted us to do is to do our best, and we did. We
What
did
she
our
should have
best.
said is,
She
you
should have
did
said
your
is,
best. I screwed you
killed
up.
him. It's like, I killed him, and then
Right,
she
it's
should
not on
break
you.
down. It's like,
Right.
much like that book this week where, what was the name of the book? Where they're going to meet the parents, and she's panicking, and then she finds out her
Right.
boyfriend's panicking. Now she has to comfort him. Well, how about you reverse that with Dawn, and she's upset, and Superboy's like, hey, you're right. Wasn't my fault.
Right.
It's like, I just didn't. And I thought it was for something of that magnitude, like what we were saying last week, is like how does she come back from this? How does she handle this? And then you're like, oh, she says goodbye and heads off to Paris.
Right.
Like, I think that's what it was, wasn't it? It's like,
I don't remember if they said where she was going, but
to be with her family.
yeah.
And apparently her family has money, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, well, everybody has money in these shows.
In
so.
these shows, I guess.
So.
But yeah, I didn't like that. But I think that was about it that I didn't like.
Well, the other thing I didn't like is like this show. We've got like a major secret identity problem going on in this show. You know what I mean? Like
there isn't one.
There isn't one, right? And it's like they've just been really kind of sloppy about the whole thing. Like I was reading an article about this yesterday, and I had already been thinking of it because I mentioned it to Lydia when we were watching the episode. But it's like they've done so many things, like stupidly, like to just out themselves, and like everybody knows. Well, now and plus they would basically just had Jason tell Scarecrow who he was and revealed everything to him. But even without that, like Dick and Barbara, like always being together, and like Dick is on camera breaking Crane out of prison, right? And then when the helicopter shows up overhead, like he's fighting Nightwing. So it's like
right.
Everything is just so sloppy when it comes to
I thought of that too.
their superhero identities, and it's like,
But you know
why
what I
would
likened
Barbara,
it to?
like, why would she have Dick hanging around in the first place? Like,
Right.
there's no reason for this guy to be involved in any police investigations that make sense. Like, everybody in the Gotham PD should be asking, like, what the hell is this guy doing here?
Right.
Why is he going to talk to Crane in prison? Like, and then as soon as he shows up at the police department talking to Barbara, the Titans and Nightwing show up in Gotham. Like,
right. Well, that's
it's
what
just
I was
so-
going to say. It's like there's a lot of that goes on in the books too. Like Nightwing shows up in Gotham and so does Dick.
Yeah.
People put, but like we know, but I guess that's in.
But nobody seems to be noticing it. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like,
That's what I mean. But nobody. But that's like Superman and his glasses. Like nobody notices these things. Like you got to kind of suspend disbelief for a while, and it's like.
But then Jason flat out telling Scarecrow everything, like, because Scarecrow now knows everything, right? They're talking about the training and all of this and that, and it's like, okay. My thing now is that, like, is this, like, did he die at all? Like, did Jason even die?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And so it almost seems like now it's Scarecrow that kind of turned him into the Red Hood. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not sure that he even died, which is fine if that's just, they're just telling a different story than what happened in the comics. But there's still no mention of like how he resurrected and came back to life, and what is really going on, and like I said, how Jonathan Crane, how Scarecrow is involved in the whole thing. Why Jason would be stupid enough to walk into the obvious trap that Dick is setting for him.
Yeah, and especially if Jason knows that area, he knows the cabin, he knows all of it's.
Yeah,
but
so
he's also
some
cocky.
Things, yeah, he is. Well, and even Dick says that he's like he'll come anyways because that's that's the way he is or whatever. And he might just be cocky enough to just show up, but it's like
clearly
it's a clear trap that's being set for you,
Right.
And it's like, so all that being said, I still I still think the episode is fine, but some of the things are a little sloppy when it comes to the continuity and the secret identity thing. I think is a big problem.
Do you think that they're trying to tell too big of a story? Like they've written themselves into too many tangents, and they needed to keep it
I feel like there's
streamlined?
too much going on because, as we mentioned earlier, like we even talked about it last week, like there's the whole Jason Todd thing going on. There's still going to be a Raven.
Starfire.
There's a Raven
sister.
and Donna Troy story that hasn't even started yet that's still going to play out before this season ends. Yes, there's the whole Starfire, Blackfire thing. Now there's maybe a Brother Blood thing. Like, it's kind of like Aquaman movie where, like, they just are throwing every storyline that's ever happened into one thing. And, yeah, I feel like they could dial it back a little bit and tell one story or two stories, maybe.
You know what's funny is I feel like they should make it either they should make it more concise or make it like a CW show and have it
where it has 22 episodes. Right.
Yes.
Because I think
12
there's too much
episodes
happening.
is too short. And like you said, Dawn might not come back. She might.
Right.
There's a good possibility that, like, all right, well, that was her story. Let's move on. And now we're gonna, like you said, we've got all this Donna Troy stuff to do. We've got all. I mean, there's so much more to do. Right. But you're like, but I'm still, like you said, I'm thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, I still love it. Yeah, I still loved it.
I think the production quality is fantastic. I think
it is.
I am enjoying the story. My biggest issue is I'm not getting enough of it.
Right.
And I already feel we're only 4 episodes in. We're like, it's like when when we were kids and you're like, oh, this is going to be continued. We're not going to get enough. We're going to have to watch next week. You're already getting that feeling like we're not going to. I'm going to have to wait for season 4.
Right.
And we're only on episode 4, and I know they can't wrap it up. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's too much going on.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
And again, with too much going on, everything doesn't get the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
So
I do think I like that Dick is. I'm hoping that by the end of it, he is outsmarting people. It seems like he's being played a fool right now, but I have a feeling that by the end it'll be like, nope, I knew what was going on there. Very similar to what he was doing with the cabin, what he's doing with like that scene where Scarecrow goes to run off in the woods and he set it up and he's like,
right, he knew he wasn't going anywhere.
It's like Dick's playing chess and he's a couple of moves ahead, and I'm hoping.
Everybody else is playing checkers,
Yeah, I'm hoping by the end of the season, it's like he kind of is being that better Batman, and he knew what moves were going on here. I'm also hoping Batman plays that as well. Like, I knew what was going on, and this is why I left to go do this, and it all comes back into a nice.
Well, I hope
bow.
so too, because I don't like what they've done with Batman so far. So.
Right. So we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
One interesting thing I think is kind of fun that separates this from the Marvel movies. Braden, one of the guys in the home theater podcasts, that Braden Russell from the HT guys, he mentioned this about talking about the TV shows on Disney Plus. And this is and it made me think of it about Titans as well. And he was talking about all the Marvel stuff that's on Disney Plus right now, like WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. He goes, they're good. He goes, but they're not as good as the stuff that was on Netflix. And I was like, what is he talking? Oh yeah. I completely forgot we had that Daredevil, Luke Cage. We had an entire Marvel universe going on Netflix. Let me finish. I know what you're going to say. It was kind of nice and refreshing that it wasn't part of we wanted it to be at the time. We wanted a little snippet here and there. But isn't it kind of fun that Titans, we're not spending all this time on how does this tie into the DCEU, or we're just enjoying the show for what it is. Whereas when we get to What If, and we talked about, Loki Vision? Yeah, Loki. Yeah. When we talk about all these other shows over on Disney Plus with Marvel, everything's about how does this tie in, and you end up getting even more convoluted. It's kind of fun that Titans is just its own thing.
Right.
Even though it was linked into everything during the CW, crisis.
Right.
Which everything was linked. That was kind of nice.
It is, but it's kind of not still. Like
exactly. It's its own universe.
Yeah, they haven't followed through with any of that. So.
Right. And it's kind of fun. But leading on to that, what do you think of that statement that Braden made? I agree with it. I'll tell you that up front. I think
that the Netflix stuff was better.
Yeah, like Daredevil. I honestly...
But the thing is, only Daredevil, right? Like, Daredevil is the only one of those shows that was better, or at least on par with what the MCU stuff is doing. The other shows were fine to less than fine. You know what I mean?
Jessica Jones season 1
Jessica Jones
I actually
was
liked
good.
Those seasons.
Jessica Jones was good, but like Luke Cage was just mediocre, and
Punisher was good. Iron Fist was
less
not.
than mediocre.
Yeah, less than.
So...
Season 2 was actually pretty good of Iron Fist.
Well, it was better than season 1, and it did end with a cliffhanger that I kind of wanted to see explored, but we didn't.
Right.
But like when they did their Avengers, which was the Defenders, it was nowhere near as good as anything the MCU has done. So I don't necessarily agree. I just think Daredevil was a cut above everything else that was on Netflix.
Netflix.
Daredevil was great. I don't know that. I still say Daredevil season 3 is one of the best seasons I've ever seen of anything, but I don't know that it's better than
WandaVision.
I don't know. It's hard to say whether it was better than WandaVision or Falcon Winter Soldier or Loki. I don't know. But again, I haven't seen it in a while. So,
but see, what's interesting to me is what makes Loki so great is how it's tied in to the MCU, and it's
Right, whereas Daredevil wasn't any
stands
of
on
that.
its own.
Right, it
And
was
that's
its own thing.
So you're right. It's hard to say which one was like WandaVision. Very creatively done, fantastic show, very entertaining. But it's the most fun we had about that was comparing it to the MCU. What is this leading to? What is going to? That was where the talk was. Whereas Daredevil was just, that's all 3 seasons, to be fair, were just like unto themselves. And you just absolutely were riveted and loved that show. And they had their little, I think in season 1, I should say, they had their little drop-ins to the MCU. They talked about the event in New York. They talked about stuff like that. But for the most part, there was nothing. Most people wanted something, but it's just they were just great dramas.
Yeah.
Action dramas. So I thought that was I wanted to talk to you about that because he had mentioned it on his home theater podcast, and I was just like, you forget, like, when are those shows going to show up on Disney Plus somewhere? Right. Hopefully they'll. I was talking with Zach on Instagram today about the Spider-Man trailer and everything. I was wondering maybe after Spider-Man movie, maybe we get Daredevil on Disney Plus because maybe Matt Murdock shows up. And there's a clip in the trailer where I think it's Matt Murdock. And a lot of people are saying it online,
a lot of people
too.
say it. Yeah, I've seen that too.
It's just all you see is the shirt, like from the neck down, shirt, tie, and the pants, dressed just like how you'd always see Matt dressed as a lawyer.
Right.
So if he shows up in that would be a pretty cool way to, like, now we introduce this into the Disney Plus, and here comes all those Marvel, and they just unload all of them into Disney Plus, and that's the little introduction there. That would be cool. So, but all right. Speaking of Marvel,
yep.
What if? So you liked Captain Carter better than you liked T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
please elaborate.
I don't have a lot to say about it. I just enjoyed one more than the other. Like, I didn't think this was bad by any means, but I liked the other episode more. It's just my personal preference. Like, I don't have a lot of debate to go along with it. That's why I was saying I don't know that we have that much to say. Okay. But I just thought the other one was more entertaining. I don't know. I just enjoyed the other one more. I liked the Thanos.
I was just going to say.
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was fine. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I just thought the other one was better. So,
yeah, I thought this one had more differences to me.
Well, it did.
Because it had more characters to be different.
Right.
I thought. And especially when the Thanos one, I loved how they introduced that one too, because they bring you in and they're sitting around talking and they're like, and how did you defeat the Mad Titan or whatever? It's like, and it's like, and you're wondering how did he? And then he walks, he goes, well, he just changed my mind or whatever, right? And that, but then they're like, he describes he goes, I still stand my ground that it's a
he keeps trying to plan. He still keeps trying to defend his plan.
Like, it's genocide.
Right.
And then even at the end of the episode, they're at that party or whatever, and they're like, they just scan by his table, and I guess the girl he's talking
about
it. It sounds like genocide.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
good.
efficient.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool, and I liked what I thought was really interesting, and I thought it was a great tribute to Chadwick Boseman too, on how they, like, the opening scene when he goes in and he's supposed to be like, I'm Star-Lord, but when it was it Chris Pratt, right, playing that part, it was a joke. Like, nobody respected like Star-Lord. They're like, Star-Lord, what is that, right? So it was a great nod to T'Challa, but to Chadwick Boseman too, and that everybody respected him. And then it's like, so now he gets taken. They show you the backstory. He gets taken, and because he's the one that's taken, he basically changes the entire galaxy to respect one another. And I thought that was just a really cool tribute to him, and sad also listening to his voice throughout this thing. And I mean, this is depressing, but he's got to know he's never going to hear this when he was recording this. And I thought that.
Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know if he knew how close. I mean, he knew he was sick, but I don't know if he knew he was.
This
dying,
is like,
you know what I mean?
I think this is the last thing he recorded, wasn't it?
Well, it is, but I don't know if he knew when he was doing it that it was the last thing he was going to record.
Yeah.
The other thing that, like you said, was nice is that, you're saying it was a great tribute to him, but it was done while he was alive and nobody knew that he was dying. So,
right.
Like, was it intended to be a tribute to him in that way, or
No.
are we just looking at it that way now?
Right. But that's the thing is, like, I loved how they did that with, like, T'Challa, and like the respect that he commands anyways, right? But then it turns into, the actor playing him passes on, and you're like, well, okay, and it's maybe this might be like the last T'Challa we see, because they said they're not going to go on with it, with the character in the MCU. So this might be the last version that we see, and it's
of him. It probably won't be the last Black Panther that we see, but it'll be the last T'Challa. Yeah,
right. But yeah, it was just funny how like that the difference there, right in that opening scene, and they're like, he takes it, and he's like, oh, and they're like, do I take a knee? Do I?
Right. Yeah, it was great.
He's like, should I put the gun down? And like, no, use the gun. Go ahead, pull the trigger.
Well, and you know what else I noticed in this episode, as opposed to the first one, is that every single voice actor was the voice actor.
Was the person, yeah.
Yeah, like everybody came back. Whereas in the first episode, they recast Steve, they recast Tony Stark, or Tony Stark they recast for the next episode, actually. But like, those guys didn't come back to do their voices.
Those are also bigger people that have left the MCU, have since left.
But everybody, including even Benicio del Toro, like everybody was back. Like I read the credits, and everybody was back doing their voices. I loved the Howard the Duck stuff. I thought was great. Like there was definitely, like I said, I didn't dislike it. Like I thought the episode was great.
That's why I liked it more. It's like, and I loved Captain Carter, but I just thought this was just so much more interactive. Like you said, all those characters coming back. I didn't feel like Benicio del Toro sounded like he did in the movie.
He didn't. That's why I wasn't sure that it was him. But when I read the credits, it was his name, because I didn't think it was him when I was watching it. But it was.
No, I saw his name in the credits as well, and I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for this week's episode, which comes out today.
Today.
Today,
it's Wednesday. Yeah. Which is the Thor episode, I believe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, which is Chris Hemsworth.
Yes.
So,
but I also think that a lot of these actors are still under contract.
Right.
They're still in, because we do have another Guardians coming out.
The other ones moved on because they're already out of contract.
Right.
All the other ones are still locked in, so it makes sense. But
right.
But even getting but they had Kurt Russell. He's not locked into anything, I'm sure, and.
You never know. They do another Guardians. He could show up. You never know.
He could. I guess he could. Yeah. So.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. Getting Kurt Russell and
Chris Pratt at the end, working at Dairy Queen or wherever he was.
Yeah, it's the same Dairy Queen from the movie, because that was the one they went to that he took at the beginning of the first movie.
Right.
Or the Flash. Well, maybe that was the second movie.
I don't. Yeah. I think it was
the second movie when they were saying how they dated and stuff.
Right.
So, I forget. But, all right. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. That'll do it for this week. Holy cow.
What?
Did you see the timestamp?
Oh, I know. It's a long one.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at my clock and thinking, I'm no wonder I'm starving.
I know. All right, we got to wrap up. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Do you want to stick around and just pontificate for another 15 minutes so we can do a 3-hour podcast?
No, I'm going to eat. So.
All right. let's get out of here. Maybe we'll just break this up and we won't do a show next. I'm just kidding. All right. That's it. We are definitely out of here. I will see everybody next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Take care.